And welcome back to Marseille and the Yacht Club Point Rouge for Match Race France. This is the first event on the 2011 World Match Racing Tour. I'm Mark Chisnell and I will be hosting this afternoon's show. We'll be hearing from Tour Director Craig Mitchell and our on-the-water commentator Hannah White shortly, but first up is Rachel, who's going to keep us updated on what's happening on the blog, Twitter and Facebook. So what's new, Rach?
On the blog, Jammed Heart says, good stuff Mersky, and it's commiserations from Shawsey, who says, ouch, Team GAC Pindar.
All right, well, we'll tell you those stories very soon, but if you want to chat with Rachel, there are lots of ways you can get in touch. On Twitter, you can follow at WorldMRT or use the hashtag WMRT. On Facebook, we are at www.facebook.com/World Match Racing Tour. And the good old-fashioned email address is tv@wmrt.com. So, it's day 3, Friday the 13th, and it's already been unlucky for someone, as you probably guessed from those blog messages. More on that in a moment. We ran out of breeze last night with just one flight left in the qualifying stage, and we sailed that critical last flight first thing this morning. And this is how it played out. At the top there, Bjorn Hansen beat Ian Williams. That was a critical match for the seeded Brit. It left him on just 4 wins and put him out of the competition. Francesco Bruni then beat Phil Robertson, a crucial win for the Italian as well, as it booked his place in the quarterfinals on 6 wins, and it left Phil Robertson, tour card holder this year for the first time, on 5 in a 3-way tiebreak for the crucial 7th, 8th and 9th places. We'll look at how that resolved again shortly. Torvar Mersky defeated Pierre-Antoine Morvan, and that win ensured that Mersky topped the qualifying sessions. Morvan was already on 6 wins and safely into the next round. Then Damien Neal in the last race beat Alvaro Marino, and that ensured that Damien was second in qualifying, and Marino on 5 wins was in that same ugly tiebreak for the last couple of places in the quarters. So if we have a look at the leaderboard next, we can see those confirmation of those final results for qualifying. And the leaderboard shows confirmation of Mersky's win, with Damien Neal in second place, both on 8-3, but Mersky beat Yale in the deciding match between them. And then Passé came out best in a 4-way tiebreak for third, where all of them on 6 wins, followed by Morvan, Bruni and then Radic in 6th. The 3-way tiebreak for 7th went in favour of Peter Gilmore, with Marino getting the last berth in the quarterfinals and a very, very disappointed Phil Robertson going home early in his first event as a tour card holder. And that left Ian Williams, as we said early, a top-seeded sailor, a former double world champion, also taking the early shower and on his way back to Blighty. Alexis Litos returning, he's already in France, so he's not returning anywhere, he's returning home, and Bjorn Hansen going back to Sweden. So we have now the quarter-final. We had the pick up on the terrace at the club here earlier, and Torvar Mersky as the top man on the leaderboard. He picked Alvaro Marino, who was 8th, for no other reason than that he was 8th. Backstory there is that Mersky kind of outthought himself last year when he also won the qualifying session here. And I think he picked Francesco Bruni in the quarters and then got beaten. So we have next up Damien Neal, second choice, and his was Peter Gilmore, who was 7th. So again, Damien not trying to do anything clever, just picking the next guy down on the board. That left Bertrand Passé to pick Pierre Morvan to set up an all-French quarter, and finally Francesco Bruni and Jesper Radic were left to sail each other. Now there's some backstory there as well. They sailed each other twice in the quarters last year at different events, and Jesper Radic won both of them 3-2, and you should have seen Francesco Bruni's face when he realised he had Radic again. So that's going to be pretty exciting, and it's going to be our first featured race, but Craig Mitchell has been watching the racing for us while we've been on air, and hopefully he's going to update us with where we are in the flight sequence. Craig?
Yeah, flight sequence. The first start started at about 4 minutes to the hour. So we've got Mersky first up against Marino. Marino won the left, and Mersky went to the right. And Marino was crossed Mersky halfway up the first beat, but Mersky fought back, and then at the top mark, Mersky caught Marino port starboard, forced him to tack, and so Mersky got round that windward mark first. They're now heading down the run, and it looks right now as if Marino's getting into a position to roll over the top of Mersky. So we'll come back to that one in a second. In a good controlling position, Damien Neal's got a great lead now, halfway up the first beat on Peter Gilmore. So they're going well, and then into the start box Morvan and Passé. So that's where we are for the moment.
All right, that's the third flight. Our featured race will go off 4th, which is Jesper Radic and Francesco Bruni. I believe, with a bit of luck, that we've got Hannah White on the water commentary on board. Hannah, have you got a view of this pre-start?
Yeah, we're just behind the committee boat at the moment. I'm on board with Bruni, Francesco Bruni. We're just getting ready for our pre-start, but it's a very exciting pre-start between Morvan and Passé. It's hard to say. I think Passé's was in a controlling position, but I think he might have turned that around. It's very hard to see at the moment, but looking very exciting. But the best pre-start out here today was the Gilmore match, and Gilmore ended up getting himself in all sorts of pickle and actually ended up with a penalty. So I think that still outstands at the moment. So he won't be very happy halfway up the first beat with not a lead and a penalty outstanding.
All right, I think Hannah, the left has been playing again this morning, hasn't it, so far? And looks like Bertrand Passé won a fight for the pin there. He's the guy coming towards us on the right of the screen in the green boat with the green mainsail, and on the left is Morvan. I think we've got an incident we can go to, though. I'm told this is Mersky and
Mourinho. Mersky managed to hold Mourinho out beyond the ley line to the leeward mark there, and as you see, they're heading back upwind to the mark, so it's Mersky controlling that one nicely, but you see that Mourinho is pretty close, so it's going to be pretty tight up the next beat.
Yeah, Mourinho right on Mersky's tail at that leeward mark. We've got, meanwhile, Morvan and Passé still on starboard coming away from the line, and I think Jesper Radic and Francesco Bruni have just gone into the pre-start. There they are in the pre-start. Hannah is aboard with Francesco Bruni, and that sail flogging is what we can hear coming off her microphone.
Yeah, we're just in our pre-start now, head to win both boats. We're on the right-hand side, closer to the committee boat. Radic's on the left-hand side, closer to the pin. Both boats staying head to wind at the moment. Both bowmen on the bow, trying to back the jibs in different directions to keep the boats from breaking either side. Very exciting. Both boats still. Francesco Bruni in a good position, slightly to the right and slightly further aft. I think Radic would have liked to have been a bit further back, but he came in quite quick to this.
Decent conditions here today. Good breeze, it looks like.
It's a fantastic day. I mean, it's absolutely champagne sailing out here. It's pretty flat seas. Imagine the sea state to pick up a little bit like it did yesterday, but we must have sort of probably 12, 13 knots out here, and absolutely perfect for these J80s. Very small, quick, manoeuvrable boats, and they really don't like a chop, so we have to keep our fingers crossed that the sea state doesn't build too much.
2 minutes 30, I think. Radic leading away from Bruni out to the right-hand side.
Radic now turning round onto a starboard tack, heading back upwind. Bruni choosing not to follow. Bruni heading away from the line. Just jibing round now. Onto a starboard tack and back towards the line. We've got just over 2 minutes to the start.
How far are you from the line, do you think, Hannah? Struggling to hear me in all those manoeuvres.
Yeah, sorry, who are you talking to?
Yes, I'm just wondering if you have a sense of how far you are from the line.
Oh, right. Just turn around. Yeah, I'd say we were probably about... There you go, they're saying 50 to kill, so we must be about 40 seconds from the line, I'd say.
35 to kill for the kill.
35 to kill, you can hear. That's Bowman.
There's a minute 30 left, that's not a whole lot of time.
Both boats turning
30
now.
to kill for the kill.
30 to kill, 124 to go.
Matt Cornwall sailing with Francesco Bruni for this regatta, obviously world champion with Ben Ainsley last year on the bow. 1 minute 15 to go. Jesper Radic with the red sail coming down to chase Francesco Bruni.
25 to kill.
Looks like Bruni wants the left.
25 to kill.
25 to kill and only a minute left to the start line.
20 to kill.
You were talking yesterday, Mark, about having 2/3 of the time and a third left to kill.
It's quite uncomfortable for Francesco in that case, I think.
Yeah, Radic holding up protesting that, it's green flagged. Radic really putting Bruni under pressure now.
12 to kill.
I know Bruni wanted the left before he started, so
He's
if he wants that spot, it'd be imperative that he wins the start. Lots of whistles, lots of protests, lots of green flags at the moment.
The question is Bruni
No
still early?
protest,
Because
so-
if he is, he's not going to get the left here.
25.
Radek is going to have the left by dint of a little better timing there.
21.
Francesco turned back with too much time to kill, allowing Radek to get into leeward of him and force him back to the right.
40.
It does look like Radek is going to take the left. Oh, and it's a full force out.
8,
Absolutely.
7, 6, 5.
That was a fantastic sailing by Jesper Radek. Just put Francesco Bruni out to the committee boat end so far that Francesco Bruni had to dip behind the back of the committee boat, sail out, do a turn and then come back in. So fantastic start from Jesper Radek there. Francesco Bruni on the right now, Jesper Radek on the left.
Yes, that's 3 wins there for Radek. He's I guess he didn't get the penalty, but he started ahead with this guy all bent out of shape. And that all came down to the timing. Francesco Bruni turned back to the line too early, left himself with too much time to kill, with not enough time to kill it in, and that allowed Jesper Radek to get into leeward of him and take a controlling position, and he basically had Bruni on the ropes from then on. So Jesper Radek looking in very, very good shape, and remember, these two have plenty of history. They've done 2 quarterfinals last year. Jesper Radek won both of them 3-2, so we're expecting this one to go all the way, but right now it does look like an early win for Jesper Radek. So, elsewhere on the racecourse, I'm hoping Craig will be able to update me a little bit.
Yeah, we've got Mersky and Mourinho. Mersky's just putting loose cover on Mourinho here. He looks comfortably in control. Passe picked up a pre-start penalty for an incident for not keeping clear, but that doesn't seem to have deterred him because they both went out towards the left, and Passe's got about a 3-length lead on Morvan at the moment.
So that's Mersky we're looking at there in yellow, and Alvaro Moreno in grey. So that looks very comfortable for Mersky.
Yeah, I think Mersky's got it, holding on to it nicely here, and he's just looks like he's extending.
So Mersky obviously was allowed to pick first as the top of the qualifying round, and right now it's looking like he's made a good pick, and we've got a nice shot coming into the frame there. In green is Bertrand Passe leading Pierre-Antoine Morvan. I think in black, is that right, Craig?
Yeah, that's correct, yeah, but remember Passe's got a penalty there, so he's going to have to shake that at some point around the course. At the moment it doesn't look like he's got enough room to take it on the finish, but we'll see what he does there.
No, I think we can expect to see him try to do that on the finish. They're coming down the first run now, so that's just the end of the first lap for those guys. And we're going to try and come to Peter Gilmore now, I think, and Damien Yell, and just have a look at that one before we go back to our featured match. And there it is, Damien Yell, and leading Peter Gilmore pretty comfortably. When we talked to Damien, he said he felt Peter wasn't that comfortable in these small J80 boats, the 4-man lightweight boats, and he was pretty confident in picking him. Peter Gilmore squeaking into the quarterfinals on that 5-win 3-way tiebreak. All right, so hopefully we can now set up and ready to go back to our next featured match. And there it is, Jesper Radek taking the left, but still looking well in control of Francesco Bruni.
Yeah, absolutely, Mark. I mean, Jesper Radek has a pretty good lead at the moment. He's just crossing us now, and he must be 3 or 4 boat lengths ahead. Really doing well. He seems to just have another gear that Francesco Bruni just isn't finding at the moment. I think Jesper Radek is pointing a little bit higher. These boats are just sailing along both on starboard tack now, and it looks definitely like Radek has a couple of degrees more height in him. Doing well there.
Yeah, Radek in control there. I wonder, the psychology of this is not good for Francesco Bruni, with those 2 defeats last year in the quarters to Jesper, and I don't think this is going to help the Italian cause.
And of course, Francesco Bruni just totally not expecting to end up racing Jesper Radek, and that was all brought about by Bertrand Passe choosing Morvan, which nobody expected really.
No, interesting. Yeah. The psychology of all that is pretty interesting as well, isn't it? That quite who do you pick? You can definitely outthink yourself in terms of who you pick. And sometimes it's better. You feel more comfortable in many ways if you go with the 8th guy. If you've got the first pick, at least you can shrug your shoulders and say, well, at least he was 8th, even if he came good in the next round. But if you pick someone who was 5th or 6th and then they beat you, you're going to feel pretty sick, I think. Anyway, we're looking at Jesper Radek, who ended up sailing Francesco Bruni. They were the 2 that were left over after all the picking was done. And Radek leading very comfortably now. He's been herding Bruni all the way up here, and will go around that first mark in very good shape. Now the first match, I think, must be getting reasonably close to a finish line. Just having a quick look. Yes, we're just going to have a quick look here. Just check in with Torvar Mirsky and Alvaro Marino. And there it is, Torvar Mirsky in yellow. Marino's managed to get some separation there. He's in the grey boat closest to us. But Mirsky was comfortably in the lead, I believe, Craig, was they started out down there.
Yeah, Mirsky did a nice job of extending. He looked like he was actually taking all the shifts up the beats and just doing a nice job. I know that his lads hike very hard upwind, so he probably wasn't giving away any boat speed. So got around the top mark in good shape, and he's just working his way down to the run to take the win.
All right, so Torve Mirsky's going to go 1-0 up, looking pretty comfortable. And meanwhile, I think our featured match is approaching the windward mark, Hannah.
Yeah, that's right. We're not too far off the windward mark now. Both boats coming up this beat, trying to get every little shift, tack on every little shift. But Radek has done a really nice job of extending his lead now. He's really got quite a hold over Francesco Bruni. Jesper Radek now tacking onto port, heading up to the ley line. He'll do 2 little tacks. Maybe there was a little shift there, so he decided to take it. Oh, in fact, no, apologies. There was a change of windward mark, wasn't there? We're not going to the big orange one. So that's Jesper Radek there, tacking onto port ley line, and Francesco Bruni going very shortly.
Yeah, Francesco Bruni blue tacking on the ley line, trailing in after Jesper Radek. It's going to take a miracle to turn this around, I think, isn't it, for Italy?
Yeah, well, the breeze seems to be really quite stable out here today. We've seen a couple of, shifty days with some left shifts and some right shifts yesterday, but today the breeze seems to be a lot more stable.
All right, we're just going to try and switch back quickly to see this finish happen, I think. And just a confirmation, there it is. Final jibe for Torvar Mirsky in yellow, and there is the yellow flag on the committee boat. So, or is it just being prepared? No, it's just being prepared. That's not it there yet. Any second now. Torvar Mirsky with the yellow starboard entry, so that's the flag we're looking for. There it is, yellow flag for Torvar Mirsky. 1-0 up against Alvaro Marino in match 1 of flight 1 of the quarterfinals at Marseille, France. Meanwhile, we go back to our featured match.
Yeah, poor old Francesco Bruni just had to, on approaching the top mark, just had to dip below Damien Neal, which slowed him down a little bit, so that would have helped extend Jesper Radek's lead, but we've now got around that top mark. A lot of congestion at the top mark at the moment, and trailing Jesper Radek by quite some margin now.
So you're mixed up with a second flight there, Hannah. That's always bad news, isn't it, for the trailing boat? Just makes it that much harder for them.
Yeah, I mean, anyone would think we were in a match with Damien Neal, how close they are, but they're literally just half a boat length off us and right in our breeze at the moment. So Francesco Bruni just jibing off onto a starboard jib just to try and get some clear air away from Eel. Really won't be helping him. So
that's looking like a comfortable win for Damien Neal in his first match against Peter Gilmore. They're on their final run as well. And we will track them down here, obviously, with our featured match and get the finish of that one too. And I think the only one that leaves is Bertrand Passet, who, if Craig can give us a quick update without the switching the visual.
Yeah, Bertrand's looks like he's extended a little bit on this beat, and he's just taken a nice loose cover on Morvan.
All right, so we have all the leaders in solid control here. Damien Yell ahead of Peter Gilmore, Bertrand Passet ahead of Pierre-Antoine Morvan in the all-French quarter-final, and Jesper Radek comfortably in front of Francesco Bruni in the final match. So this is just checking, but I think this is all going with the scening. I can't remember whether Francesco was ahead of Jesper or not in the quarterfinals. He was, so yes. Looking very relaxed aboard Jesper Radek's boat.
Yeah, although having said that, we're in a very, very nice little stream of breeze here on Bruni's boat and seem to have a little bit of boat speed over Radek. So it might help claw back some of the monstrous lead that Jesper Radek has. But as you said earlier, Mark, I think it's going to take a miracle for Bruni to turn this around. But we've seen many things happen on various match racing race courses, and today could be no different.
We have, and there's a full lap to go. So great shot there of these boats. These J80s in the day here in Marseille. Fantastic venue. We were a little bit worried we weren't going to get any race until this afternoon today, but the breezes filled in. It's a little bit more round to the left than previous days, so we have a slightly different course orientation. It still certainly seemed from the pre-start that we watched that everybody still wanted that left-hand side. It was very much the case last year when, and I think Torvar Murski told us early on in the regatta that the left particularly paid if you could lay into the breakwater, but we're a little bit further off the beach this year as there's a new Euro regulation which says you've got to be outside those yellow cans. You can see one of them right in the middle of the frame there. They're 300 metres from the shore and you ain't allowed to go any closer. Alright, shifting to Jesper Radek. Boat nice and flat. Beautifully trimmed. We're about to get a finish as well of Peter Gilmore and Damien Yell, I think, as they come down here. We'll come to that before they get to the line. In the meanwhile, we'll watch Jesper Radek set up here for his leeward mark rounding. Nice Kiwi drop from Jesper Radek. Hole has to go away very quickly as they turn upwind. Those are the rules. You're not allowed to have it extended, and you can see it disappear there very neatly. And you can see already the gap. Francesco Bruni not even in the frame yet. This is going to be a bit of a hammering for Italy in this first match. Alright, we're going to get this finish as well. Damiel is in purple. You can just pick him up there on the right of the frame. And he's just tracking down towards the committee boat, which should appear very, very shortly. Damien was yellow right-hand entry, starboard entry, and we should see that yellow flag go up shortly on the committee boat. Keep your eyes peeled, everyone. There it is, yellow flag and a win for Damien Yell in match 2 of flight 1 of the quarterfinals at Match Race France. And we will return now to our feature match. There it is, Bruni tacking off, and Jesper Radek not too anxious to cover you there, Hannah.
No, he really has. Well, Jesper Radek obviously thinks that the left is best, and that's what he's going to do. No, we rounded the bottom mark, went a little bit further, and tacked onto port. Not too soon, tacking back onto starboard now. It'll be interesting to see in this cross where we are.
Coming back onto the other on the course, we've got a sometimes elusively strange angle here, but I have to say that looks very good for Jesper Radek right now.
Yeah, they're just under the jib at the moment, so I can't really see. You probably got a better view, but I imagine he's going to pop out a fairly long way in front of Francesco Bruni as he comes up here on starboard at the moment. Yep, there he is, popping out. He has a monstrous lead at the moment, and as we said earlier, it's going to take a miracle. These guys still trying their hardest, talking through all the options, but options don't seem many.
Jesper Radek with a 68% strike rate last year on the tour, win-loss ratio. Phenomenal performance, 4 events, 3 finals, lost all of them, but nevertheless it was a real virtuoso performance, cameo performance, kind of thing that Hollywood stars get paid 15 million for to turn up for 10 minutes, and he was certainly a class act last year. He's come back this year to try and take the title again. He was tour champion in 2003, didn't do enough events last year to really make a full challenge, but he's back. He's a tour card holder, and after a slightly shaky start to the round robin, Jesper Radek is looking very, very good in this quarterfinal.
He really is, and one thing I've been amazed about, he's so focused. I mean, you know, even off the water, he's really, really serious, really focused on his racing, and it certainly seems to be working out here on the racecourse so far. But as we know, in this quarterfinal, it's first to 3. Is that right, Mark? Is that what they decided?
Yes, first to 3 points, I think, at the moment. We're hoping, with a bit of luck, to get a race of the semis in tonight as well. So if we do get through all this, we'll do an opponent pick and a boat pick on the water. We'll try and bring you that if it happens in our live slot. I think that's probably unlikely though. And one race of the semi-finals, and then the plan really is to try and tick it all off tomorrow, at least get to a situation where we can go back and have a clear winner tomorrow, because the forecast for Sunday is looking pretty shocking. It's a full Mistral and 40 knots. Dogs will be blown off chains, no doubt about it. There was much shaking of heads and sucking of teeth this morning when the forecast came in. We've got the third flight getting quite close to the finish. We'll come back to them soon and pick up with them, Hannah. But at the moment, Francesco Bruni, another cross set up. doesn't look much better.
No, Jesper went a long way left. It seems to be paying for him. Every time he tacks out there, he comes back and crosses even further ahead. So not much left in the bag for Francesco Bruni in this match, but I'm sure in the second flight he'll be keen to turn that around and make it a 1-1 in the quarterfinals.
I'm sure we can see him fighting pretty hard for that left-hand end again. I mean, he certainly wanted it this time, and he'll be kicking himself that, you know, he had the right answer. He wanted the left. He just didn't get it. Jesper did a better job of his timing in the pre-start.
I just don't get the feeling that, I don't know if it's this boat or Bruni, they just don't seem to have that gear that Radek has got at the moment. He seems to be just going a sniff faster in every direction, and also having had the left side, having won the start, it's really paying for him. But having said that, we've just had this cross, Radek just tacked back onto starboard now, and the gap has closed, actually. Not enough, but it certainly has closed, so really worth these guys hanging on in there, trying to turn this around.
All right, Hannah, we're just coming into the finish of the third flight now, I think, so this should be confirmation. Yeah, there it is, the spinnaker coming down. Oh, no, sorry, we've got the penalty. I'd forgotten all about the penalties. We've got some action here. Bertrand Passet trying to get his penalty in. I think he probably will. So watch for the flag on the committee boat. Passet was yellow. Yes, there it is. Plenty of time. Done really comfortably by Bertrand Passet. No problem at all against his compatriot, Pierre-Antoine Morvan. So it's flight 1, match 3. That's a win for Bertrand Passet, 1-0 up. And that just leaves us with the featured match. And Hannah White out on the water, closing on the top mark in Francesco Bruni's boat, on board with Bruni, and looking upwind towards, right now, a comfortably leading Jesper Radek.
Yeah, Jesper has come back in and is keeping a nice... He's realised that his lead is closing, and he's keeping a nice loose cover on Francesco Bruni. Francesco Bruni just tacking, trying to keep out of phase with Jesper Radek, trying to get some separation, trying to get in some different breeze, but it's definitely a lot lighter up here on this second lap than it was on the first lap. So, you know, it's anyone's game still, but Jesper looks definitely in a very controlling, very good position still.
Alright, so we're going to see Jesper Radek go around that mark pretty soon. Guys coming off the rail, setting up final approach. The pole will be coming out. You can't see it from here, but there it is, the bear away. And the hoist.
Now we're tacking onto port A line. Jesper Radek already ran the mark, already height up. You can just see the window from where I am down below at the moment, just staying out of the way of these guys. The last thing they need right now is me standing in a jib halyard. So that's pole out, that's spinnaker going up for us, but Jesper Radek is off.
Yeah, there's not a lot of room on those J80s for a commentator, but Hannah doing a great job there, keeping out of the way, not getting throttled by any flying ropes or elbows.
I don't want to be responsible for anything.
No, indeed. Alright, Jesper Radek leading comfortably down. And I think we've got a little bit of action on the blog or Facebook, Rachel?
Yeah, on the blog, Natalia says, congrats Mersky and the team for the first win in quarterfinals. Wish you all to be in the top 4.
That's Torvald Mersky, of course, last year went out in the quarterfinals after winning the round robin, which he also did this year. Those guys love these boats. It's very physical the way they sail them. They actually also got disqualified for sailing them too physically last year with a kinetic issue. And that happened in the quarterfinals, I think, after they'd taken the lead, and it might have unsettled them a little bit, and they then went out. But we are back on our featured match. Jesper Radek leading Francesco Bruni very comfortably down towards the finish of the final match of Flight 1 in this quarterfinal.
Yeah, I'm still down below Mark while one of the crew members sorts out a small finger injury in the cockpit, but I can see Radek out of our port little window here downstairs in the J80. Very comfortable lead. Radek looks in his element sailing these boats downwind. Sits a long way forward, all the crew wait a long way forward. Just looks like he's sailing a big dinghy.
Is there blood, Hannah, in that injury?
There is blood.
Ooh. Have you got your first aid kit with you?
It's not major, it's nothing that a bit of electrical tape won't fix.
Jolly good.
Really is superb conditions out here though. You know, the first couple of days we've been really worried the breezes filled in late, but today it filled in a little bit earlier, and really is fantastic sailing out here. Beautiful, warm, sunny, what more could you want?
We've been very, very lucky as well with the timing of this for our live coverage, our slot between 1 and 3, and coming into it right on the pre-start of our featured match. I don't think we could have organised it that well if we'd been planning it.
So, Mark, looking ahead to the next flight.
Yes, there's a few people need to, obviously, Marino, Gilmore, Morvan and Bruni all need to peg one back quickly. 2-0 really puts the pressure on because you're only one loss away from going out, so you need to even the scores very, very quickly. So we will be going hopefully to get some interviews after this quickly if we have time. We've got to go to, so Hannah will try and get a quick word with Francesco once you're done, but then I think we've got to do a pretty quick swap because our featured match in the next flight will be Damien Yell and Peter Gilmore, and they're the second start in flight 2. So we'll try and have a very quick word with Francesco when they cross the line, and then we'll be right back into it.
Right now, Francesco is having a little confrontation with one of the umpires there, just having a little chat with him. Obviously didn't agree with one of the umpire's decisions in the pre-start. You know, Francesco protested and moved by Jesper Radek, and it was green flag. So it's a second chat he's had with umpires in this race. Obviously not happy with that decision.
We'll see if we can get something from him on that at the end of the... certainly that is where this race was settled in that pre-start. Francesco had too much time to kill and didn't quite kill it effectively enough, and Jesper Radek got the left and it was all over. As we will see shortly, Jesper Radek with the red mainsail rolling down towards that committee boat. I don't think we're going to see the flag because the grey boat, which I think is now sort of our Mersky, in the way.
Yep, we're just sailing past the leeward mark now, so rapidly approaching the finish line.
Yep, there it is. Jesper Radek takes down his spinnaker, a sure sign that he's crossed the line. Jesper Radek wins match 1, or race 1, in flight 1, at match 4 of this first flight of the quarter-final, beating Francesco Bruni. So, Hannah, do you think you can get a quick word with Francesco?
I will. I think they're just going to drop their spinnaker, and I'll let them do that, and then I will go and have a word with Francesco straight away. It'll be interesting to see what he was saying to the umpires.
You can hear the sounds from Hannah's mic of that spinnaker coming down below on the boat that you're looking at right now there with the blue sail. Hopefully we'll see her appear out of the hatch shortly.
Still conversations going on with the umpire at the moment.
Because the rules say on your body, the upper bar body should not be below the extension of the deck line.
I think it's a hiking issue, Mark.
So I saw him, and from behind, all this extension was below the extension of the deck line. Was below. So I'm happy that you don't penalize, but I want to be able to hike as well. It's not that the rules say one thing and we don't penalize. It's okay for me.
Otherwise,
no? To stay with the legs straight above us. You must be people much more. Yeah, for sure, if you are completely straight under, maybe we can argue. But it's impossible. So, don't worry, but don't give them a warning, because for me, they can be penalized on the next one.
Francesco, can I just have a quick word about that race? Do you want to talk me through it?
Yeah, I tack and I
Okay, we're just going to tack, and then Francesco's going to talk us through it.
Yeah, it was a basic mistake on the starting line. You try to get the guy as close as possible, but you should not allow him to hook you. And he did a very good job. He hooked us, and then I made a second mistake not to go for the plan B. I should have stayed just to wind and have a even start at least. That was very unfortunate. I just sailed bad in the starting line. I'm very sorry for my guys, but we're going to be back on the next one.
Fantastic. And you were just talking there to the umpires about a hiking issue.
Well, yeah, it's a rule that is never 100% clear, and for us they were well over it. But it's not a big deal. They would have won the match anyway. We were just asking ourselves if we are doing something wrong compared to them.
Okay, Good luck in the next couple
Thank
of races.
All right.
Okay, Mark. Well, I'm going to hand back to you while I jump off this boat and get on board with somebody else.
Fantastic, lovely interview, Hannah. That was great to hear it from Francesco Bruni himself, and basically admitting to the mistakes that we'd picked up in that pre-start, that that was where it all happened. That's where he lost the first race. So hopefully we'll be seeing Francesco come back strong in this second one, although he's got a port entry, so he's got the weaker entry for the second flight. So there are the quarterfinal results. After flight 1, we have Torvar Murski. And I've taken Rachel's job. She's giving me a filthy look.
It's okay, Tizzy. After flight 1, Murski defeats Marino, Yell defeats Gilmore, Passe defeats Morvan, and Radic defeats Bruni.
Fantastic. Thanks very much indeed, Rachel. That's great. So, no complicated leaderboards anymore. It's just all about the first man to get 3 points on the board. We are going to go again in the same order, I think. I'll just... I've lost my offsider here, Craig. I can see he's on the radio to the umpires and the committee boat, so I think we're just going to get an update on exactly what the sequence will be and whether we need to push our featured match back down the flight list to perhaps the 4th start, so that everybody has time to get the cameras and the commentary teams across. So I can tell you a little bit about the sailors. Torvar Murski, for those of you who don't know, he's from Australia and this year leads the Wave Muscat racing team. Murski was 3rd on last year's tour and 2nd the year before that, but he's been one of match racing's promising young stars for a very long time now. I think I ran this joke yesterday, so it probably needs renewal too, but certainly Murski needs to turn some of that promise into a title very, very soon. Much more pressure on him to win and actually close down events and results this year. Alvaro Marino is from Portugal. He's currently 1-0 down against Murski, and is one of match racing's most solid performers. Not a man that's really featured big time on the tour so far. He's here as one of the wildcard entries. His win-loss ratio in the 2 events he did do last year on the tour was 17%, so he's got plenty of work to do to get himself up into the top 9. Once you get a tour card, it's life gets a lot easier, and that involves being in the top 9 in the world. So Alvaro has got a bit of work to do, but a quarterfinal here is a very, very good start. So I see Craig sat down again beside me, and I'm just wondering if he can update us on the plan.
Yeah, the plan now is we've got to do a boat swap. So we do boat swaps after the odd matches. So that's the first match and the third match. And the race committee are just waiting for that. We're just switching our cameras around. And then we should be underway in probably maybe 5, 6 or 7 minutes, depending on how quickly the teams settle. Okay, all right, that's great. Craig, and are we keeping the flight sequence the same, or are we going to give our featured match back to the bottom of the pile? At the moment, we'll be going as per the pairing list. Okay, so then the pairing list is the same order that we ran the first flight in, so it'll be Murski versus Marino first, then Damien Yell versus Peter Gilmore, Bertrand Passe versus Pierre-Antoine Morvan, and then Francesco Bruni versus Jesper Radic. And we will be aboard with Damien Yell and Peter Gilmore, and Hannah is on her way over there now. I'm sure we'll hear from her when she's ready. And I don't know if we have any action on Twitter. Yep, we do. Rachel, what can you tell us?
On the blog, Manny wishes Francesco and Hannah luck to shake off his losing streak.
All right, we don't want Hannah getting a reputation for being unlucky. We'd like to see her on a winning boat. I know we put a cameraman on a boat yesterday, and the boat promptly won 3 straight races, so it's easy. Sailors are very superstitious. You never know when you're going to get that sort of thing started. So those are the ways you can get in touch. Twitter @WorldMRT, or use the hashtag #WMRT. Facebook, www.facebook.com/World Match Racing Tour, and on email tv@WMRT.com. So do join in. If you have any questions, queries or comments, we will read out the ones we have time for, and Rachel's all over that. So if you want to chat to Rachel, you know how to get in touch. I'm getting another filthy look. All right, second flight, Damien Yell, Peter Gilmore. Peter Gilmore, one of match racing's legends. 6 Tour and World Championship titles, but nothing much since 2006. He completed an extraordinary 3-peat of Tour victories at that point, but since then it's really not been as strong. I've got Pete's statistics here I think there's a really interesting number that in 2006 when he was world champion, he won 68% of his races. And last year in 2010, he won just 54%. Same number as Francesco Bruni. Those two both need to push up their performances. The average win-loss ratio for a world champion over the last 5 years is 62%. And that's the number you've got to aim for. The kind of, you hear the skippers say a lot, you've got to win more than you lose, which is 50%, but actually you've got to do a little bit better than that. It seems that the Tour hasn't been won with a worse ratio than 58% in the last 5 years. So you need to have a good strike rate, but you also need to have a good strike rate in the matches that really count. All right, and Gilmour is going to be up against Damien Yell, new Tour card holder. Not a particularly strong performer when we did see him on the Tour last year, but again, a young guy, lots of potential. 47% strike rate. I think this is Damien Yell's slide coming up now. Yell, obviously a teammate as well as a rival to the Tour Card's #1 seed. And that's not Damien Yell. Here we go. Damien Yell, French match racing team. Teammate and rival to Mathieu Richard, who was second last year. Very different temperament. Mathieu Richard almost preternaturally calm on a race boat. Damien Yell, very different. We saw him completely lose it with the match against Torvald Mørski last year in Sweden in the quarterfinal, I think. And really, once the red mist has come down, his performance tends to drop. So it's a much, much calmer Damien we've seen this year, and a much improved performer as a result. Obviously, second in the qualifying round into this quarterfinal now. So there's the race committee boat. There is the 7-minute gun. We'll hold that shot, I think, until we all get ourselves organised with the timing. When that comes down, there'll be 6 minutes to go. So if you want to set your watch, I've got mine ready for a 5. So we'll be here for at least a minute and a half until I get the clock running. First match will be Torvald Mørski and Alvaro Marino. Not sure if Hannah has swapped yet. I can't hear any audio off her microphone, so I suspect not. There we go, that's a 6-minute. So just 1 minute to the 5 and then a further minute to the entry. If you haven't watched much match racing before, the 4 minutes before the start is where the entry, and I can hear Hannah's mic coming back on, so it sounds like she's aboard.
Hello Mark, yeah I am. I'm aboard with Peter Gilmour, just getting ready for this second match, which we will be in on flight to seconds. They are second start, aren't they? Yeah, sorry.
Yep, second start, and I think you'll start with entry again, Hannah.
Just having a chat with these guys about how small these boats are and how much Peter doesn't like these boats, and they're small, let alone with a commentator on board as well. So bring on Germany, they're saying.
Yes,
with the bigger boats that Peter prefers.
Yeah, it was the same last year. He didn't actually make the quarterfinals last year here, Peter Gilmour. He looked very uncomfortable in these boats, and he just snuck in this year. He wasn't confident when he came off the water. There's the 5 minute for anybody who wants to set their watch. So 5 minutes, 1 minute to the entry for the first flight. He didn't look particularly happy yesterday. He didn't look unhappy either, to be honest with you. I don't think he expects much of a result out of this one because of the boat thing. But he's in the quarterfinals, and as everybody says, anything can happen. It's a completely clean slate once you get in. So Peter Gilmour is in purple for this race. Purple mainsail, Damien Yell pink.
Purple is Peter Gilmour.
Yep. And that boat there is Bertrand Passet, who will be in black, who will be the third start. So we should see Torvald Mørski and Alvaro Marino, that's the grey and the yellow boat, come into the frame very, very soon. The yellow boat will come in with both the yellow mainsail and the yellow flag from the left-hand side, the starboard entry.
Alvaro Marino there just having a few words with a spectator boat that is parked dangerously close to the committee boat there, and for these guys entering, poor Alvaro Marino had to get a long way out of the way of a spectator boat and actually had a shocking entry really, really late. So very unfortunate for Alvaro Marino there, and very upset because of that.
Yeah, so we don't have a dial-up here. No. Marino late at the committee boat and immediately losing the advantage of the starboard entry as Torvald Mirsky with the grey sail gets across in front of his bow on port, goes deep into the box. Mirsky in very good shape already as he starts to circle. Out of
There
trouble,
you
no
go.
trouble.
Alvaro Marino will be pleased with that decision.
And that's abandonment from the 3 guns. Is that correct, Hannah?
Yeah, that's right. They've put a blue and white checkered flag up, which means they are abandoning that flight, that start. And Alvaro Marino, of course, protesting that committee boat, or the fact that there was a committee boat there, and that caused him to have a late entry into his start box. So the race committee very wisely have abandoned that and will restart it shortly. So wouldn't have been a good start for Alvaro there.
No, that's right. We've just got Craig on the radio to get confirmation of that and what his plan is, whether he's going to roll with that flight again or change the sequence. But I can hear the radio crackling away in the background, so we'll bring you that as soon as we can from Craig Mitchell, tour director. So a little bit longer for the guys to get into it. So Mirsky, comfortable winner of the first race in this flight. In this match, I should say. My matches and my flights mixed up. Beautiful day there, you can see on the beach. It's been a beautiful day every day since we got here, to be fair. There was a point a couple of weeks ago when it was warmer in England than it was in the south of France, but I don't think that's the case today.
Abandonment flag has just come down there, Mark.
Yeah, and we've got Craig here. I think he's talked to the committee boat and he's going to tell us what's going on.
Yeah, there was apparently an issue with the start line with Marino's entry, so they abandoned that start sequence, and so now they've lowered the abandonment flag, and the attention sequence will start in the next 30 seconds. So we're straight back into it.
All right, so no messing around. Unfortunate with that, the boat that got in the way of Alvaro Marino.
The lady on the committee boat has got her arms raised in the air, so she might be putting a 5 minute up any minute now, so stand by for those people who want to reset their watches.
I think we're going with a 7. It looks like a 7 flag she's going to pull up to me, Hannah. We'll see any second now.
Yes, it is. There's a 7 minute.
Okay, there we go. So 7 minutes.
I'll try and give you the 5 minute. If we stay in this area, I'll try and keep my eyes peeled for you. I need to set the watch as much as everyone else.
Absolutely, and I'm sure everybody watching at home will want to set their watches too. How are the conditions? Do you think, have we seen any change out there really, Hannah? Is it still...
Yeah, I mean, at that second top mark rounding on that last match that I was on, the breeze really felt like it had dropped off and it was getting a little bit soft up there, but it really seems to have filled in now, and looking up the course, you know, it really is very consistent across the course. I saw some patchiness this morning, but that seems to have gone, and it's looking lovely. Absolutely fantastic sailing for these guys here today. Perfect conditions.
Great stuff. Yeah, everybody very happy.
Yeah, the sea state hasn't really picked up yet. It did yesterday afternoon, and it could easily this afternoon. But at the moment, sea state still, you know, really nice and quite flat for these J80s. When it picked up yesterday, the boats were starting to slam a little bit, and it just slows them down so much. I know Ian Williams was talking about the conditions being a little bit tricky and trying to keep that momentum of the boats going, and not seeing those conditions today at the moment, which is good.
So if it gets choppy, it'll be full of sails, more powered up rigs. At the moment, flat water, flatter sails, a little higher pointing mode. And whatever happens, big hiking from all of these guys. I think we have 30 seconds to this 5 minute gun.
That's fine. Yeah. No worries. Just push me out of the way. Yeah.
It's a very generous offer, Hannah. Just push me out of the way.
Sorry, just talking to the bowman here on Peter Gilmore's boat, who, when they're doing their roll tacks in some of the lighter conditions, he needed to use the little place where I'm standing to hold on to move around the boat. So.
Because they're not actually allowed to hang on to the shroud in the roll tacks.
No, they're not. No. So he's holding on to the companionway where I'm standing. So that was a please, Hannah, will you get out the way? And that was the 5 minutes. Sorry,
that's
bit
right.
of distracted there. That was a 5 minute gun going off. Flag has been raised, so straight back into that sequence. And Marino will be hoping to get a better entry than he did last time in 1 minute's time.
All right, so we're looking for Alvaro Marino with the yellow mainsail and Torvar Murski with the grey. Reminder again, Marino coming in from the right-hand side with a more powerful starboard entry. The starboard tack right-hand side has right-of-way over the port tack left-hand side. Now, we usually talk about the left and the right when we're looking upwind. At the moment we're looking downwind towards that race course on the camera, so I'm sure I've already confused any newcomers. Yellow sail, that's the one you want. You can see it homing in on the committee boat now as Alvaro Marino tries to get a much better time for his pre-start this time. His entry into the box.
5 seconds left, there you go. Still a late entry for Alvaro Marino, but no excuses this time.
No, they can't be early. If they cross the line perpendicular to the start line coming from either end, the end that they're entering from, they also get penalised. So you can't be early, and if you're too late, you can hand the other guy an immediate advantage. He can get deeper into the box and either cross in front of you, as you saw with Torvar Murski if you're coming from port, or if you're coming from starboard, you actually have a chance to just aim straight at the other guy and force him into an immediate jibe and out and pin him out to the left. But normally these guys are right on their game and the timing is good, and if the line's long enough and the breeze is strong enough, this is what we normally see, a dial-up. Head to wind in the middle of the box.
That's Marino breaking first there. I don't know if you can see it on your pictures, but Marino breaking first, going off to port, and now coming back round, tacking onto starboard.
Yeah, the right-hand boat, the left-hand boat on your screen, right-hand boat looking upwind, which in this case is Marino looking to get away from that engagement early enough to be able to come back and do exactly what he's done now. Come back on starboard at Murski. Murski slipping past him though. Marino can get onto starboard early enough and get right of way. You can actually force Murski into a second dial-up, and that's when you know you're in trouble, when you're the left-hand boat. Murski would have been in a lot of trouble, but Marino didn't quite have enough distance between him and Murski when he jibed onto starboard to force Murski into the second dial-up. So we have now a very conventional look, which is both boats headed away from the committee boat out to the right-hand side of the pre-start box.
Yeah, just under 2.5 minutes now till their start. Murski coming back round onto starboard, looking to start the circling that we see so often in these pre-starts. They'll be coming back round, right on the tail of Marino. Just a little bit of distance there. I was expecting Murski to come around a little bit closer, but now it's just a question of who turns back to the line first and who chooses to follow.
This is all about the timing. 2 minutes to go. It's still quite a long time to judge the final approach, so I think we will probably see one more final circle. Will Murski go back for the line, and will he go onto Marino's tail? Murski, the grey boat on the right-hand side of the frame. Marino sets up high above to windward, and will probably come down and start to push. Murski looks like he's on his final approach. So again, I think we're setting up for both boats wanting the pin. The black buoy on the right, just to the right centre of the screen. Murski headed away from Marino, not allowing the Portuguese to push him back to the line yet. Killing more time, burning more time before he heads up. Minute 10 left now. Getting into the critical zone in this restart. I'd say Murski definitely wants the left. Marino not close enough at the moment to push him back.
Marino's very early from where I am standing or sitting.
So the angle is probably elusive here. Is Marino's ahead of Murski now? Is it? Yes, he is. Okay, we just see confirmation there as the boats cross.
Yeah,
So
Marino is just ahead of Murski. Murski right on his tail. Both boats coming up, going down, trying to burn a little bit of speed. 35 seconds to go. They're getting quite close to the line now.
So Marino in danger of doing the same thing as Bruni did in the last one, and getting pushed back too early and losing the left.
Probably only 3 boat lengths behind the line now.
They've got 25 seconds to go. If Marino can hold it head to wind like this, he may get a start. Murski needs to get some acceleration and start pushing hard again. Murski's
10
grey
seconds.
boat forcing Marino's got the left. Marino in good shape out of here if he's not too close to the line and can get a start. Very hard to tell from this angle. There it is, it's a clean start. So Alvaro Marino gets the left in match 2.
Fantastic start there from Marino. I was worried he was going to be too early there, but he did a really good job of slowing down and keeping Murski on his tail and not being forced into a position where he would either be too early or have to bail out.
And I think Craig just coming in there to point out that Marino won the left in the last match too.
Yeah, he took the left in the last match, but Mersky just ground him down and ground him down, and then caught him at the top.
All right, so that's pre-start for match 1 of flight 2. Mersky on the left of the frame, but Marino has the left of what counts, which is the left-hand side of the racecourse looking upwind. And we are coming into pre-start for match 2, which is Damien and Peter Gilmore, and that's you, Hannah.
Yeah, that's right. On board with Peter Gilmore, and he just did a lovely timed entry on the starboard end of this racecourse. Really, really nice. I couldn't see what Damien was doing the other end, but we're now in this dial-up position. We're at the committee boat end. Yale just down towards the pin end a little bit, about a boat length between us. So both boats head to wind at the moment.
So another traditional dial-up in the middle of the start line. Yale in pink on the right.
Gilmore's out on a starboard tack, right of way, now tacking onto port tack.
Yeah, nicely done by Gilly there. He got Damien Yale going on port and was able to get away from him very quickly and create some separation. That's what you need here as you go away on port, so you can do the circle, come back on starboard.
Yeah, Damien Yale really struggling to get any kind of boat speed there as Gilmore comes back towards him, and we'll see another dial-up situation here. Damien Yale.
That's what Marino was trying to do in the last pre-start and didn't quite manage it, and Gilly's got Damien Yale all bound up and in trouble here. Using the power of the right, the starboard tack, to get Damien Yale pinned on this left-hand side. Now, I can have to say, it's extremely difficult to keep a boat pinned out to the left, a lightweight boat like this, in these conditions. If this was Germany, where we're going in a couple of weeks, and light air and heavier, slower boats, then Damien Yale would be toast already, I think, especially against Gilly in those boats. But these are lightweight, twitchy, fast to accelerate boats, and it's much more Damien Yale's kind of thing. I'm reasonably confident he's going to turn this around before the pre-start, but for the actual start. But we'll see how this plays out.
Movement now on Peter Gilmore's boat. We're off on a starboard tack. Main sheet man just trying to back the main just to get a little bit of speed, get a little bit of movement. Peter Gilmore now following Yale around. Yeah, trying to stay out the way, keep his proper course. He doesn't have much boat speed at the moment. Gilmore's got a lot more boat speed, so I think Damien Yale is just about to escape. Bowman up on the front, calling the overlap. No overlap at the moment.
That's the key thing here, isn't it, Hannah? Is Gilly getting his bow into leeward there?
Absolutely. To
the right-hand side of Damien Yale's boat as you're looking at it. Once he's done that, he's got control again. But Yale has got the thing to accelerate. He's got a J to accelerate. He's starting to look a lot happier in this pre-start.
Oh, he did. I mean, it was pretty close there, and Gilly was almost in there, but Damien Yale just managed to creep out of that by the skin of his teeth, actually. Damien Yale using the committee boat now to try and create some separation between Peter Gilmore. Damien Yale going in front of the committee boat, Peter Gilmore coming behind. Now heading back into that. Oh, that's nearly a collision with the umpire boat.
Damien Yale using the committee boat very effectively there to take the pressure off himself finally.
1 minute, you probably just heard that call. There it is.
57, 56, 55.
Nice loud call on the time from Yaji on board Peter Gilmore's boat. Been sailing with Peter Gilmore for a very, very long time. Since
just a very unfortunate scenario there for Peter Gilmore. He got a little bit caught up with an umpire boat. It created some wake when Peter Gilmore's speed was pretty low and really just stopped him dead in his tracks. And Damien maybe with a small advantage, but clock's ticking. Both boats still a little way away from the start line now, but Peter Gilmore tacking round. This will be his final approach.
30 seconds to the start. We're into the business end of this one. Damien Yale at the moment holding the left, and it's all about whether Gilly can push Yale down to that pin before the clock runs out. Is he going to try, or is he going to settle and try and get us separated to windward?
Gilmore is taking the committee boat end, and he's going for it.
So now Yale wants to get as close to him as he can and keep it tight, make it really painful for Gilmore off the line.
There we go, and we're off.
All right, that was the start for our featured match. Peter Gilmore versus Damien Yale. Damien second in the qualifying sessions and now one up in this match. Gilly has to even this up to take some momentum off the Frenchman here. looks like a good breeze there, Hannah.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful, and Peter Gilmore in quite a strong position at the moment, just back, but quite a long way to leeward, probably 2 boat lengths to leeward. I think Damien Neal's pointing a sniff higher than Peter Gilmore at the moment. Their crew's certainly hiking a little bit harder. Obviously we've heard a couple of cases of some hiking controversy, very grey area as to how much you can hike in these boats, and you know, definitely Damien Neal and his crew hiking a little bit harder at the moment than Peter Gilmore, and that might be the reason they're pointing us slightly higher. But boat speed wise, it's absolutely bang on. They're both going exactly the same speed.
Well, the key thing is that you cannot drop hike as you do on boats like the Soling, so you can't have the backs of your thighs against the side of the hull. But if you can keep your legs straight, you can get out, and basically the rest of your body flat with your stomach muscles, then you can get out the furthest possible distance. But if you start to tire and sag and lurch onto the backs of the thighs onto the side of the boat, it becomes illegal. So that's the area that the umpires are trying to judge. They have a special sheet that they show everybody at the start of these regattas. It's been in operation for a year and a half, so most of these guys are well aware of how the rule operates. But obviously, once you're getting tired, it gets towards the end of a long day, you can sag into a position that can become illegal without really intending to. And both boats tacking now. Gilmore deciding to go into leeward of Damien Yell, and presumably, Hannah, that was because he didn't think he could get to him on starboard.
Yeah, I would think so, Mark. I mean, Peter Gilmore went, Damien Yell, I don't know if he's trying to, you know, stay with him, stay in the same breeze as him, but I would think what's happening is Peter Gilmore's decided to come out and try and get onto starboard ley line for this mark and try and sneak in around the top, but it's pretty even Stevens at the moment.
Right, I think we're going to try and get an update from Craig on the top mark, the first flight that went off, Torval Mirsky and Alvaro Marino.
Yeah, Mirsky set himself up to weather and managed to hold on into the corner of the course. Both boats tacked at the same time and went into the top mark. They were overlapped, so Mirsky didn't want to bear away immediately. He wanted to try and hold it at his advantage and try and eke out a little bit more room there. So he took Marino way past the mark in order that he could prepare himself and make a great set on the spinnaker. So now we've got Mirsky just ahead. But Marino looks like he's getting into a position to roll there. So Marino, plenty to do. He's 1-0 down and behind, but in an attacking position on the first run of the first lap in that second race in the first match of Flight 2. And meanwhile, we can come back to Hannah, I think, and just check out how Peter Gilmore's doing in that tight situation with Damien Yell.
Yeah, we've just had our first true cross of this race, and Damien Yell at the moment has the advantage. I think just being able to get a couple of degrees of height managed to get him a little bit of separation while we're coming up this beat, and has managed to convert it into a small lead. We're coming back now, going to come for another cross. We're on port, Damien Yell on starboard, and I imagine he's going to pop out in front of the jib any second now. Yeah, I can just see his mast. Half a boat length separating these boats now, but Damien Yell with the advantage.
Right, Damien Yell has been sailing fantastically well. Clearly done a lot of work over the winter, come into this event, although it has to be said that these are home waters and boats that they sail in quite a bit in France for match racing. So if he's going to make an impact on the tour card holder for the first time this year, if he's going to make an impact, this is definitely the place to do it.
And he really thrives on these smaller boats, doesn't he, Damien Yell? It's really his comfort zone, so fab to see him out here doing so well. But, you know, compared to the last race, Gilly's still very much in it.
Absolutely. He was very clear. We talked to him just before the started after the pick at the end of the qualifying sessions, and he said, you know, he took Gilmore because he was 7th, but just naturally the next guy up, Damien Yell picking second as he was in second place after Torval Mirsky had chosen Alvaro Marino. But he said he was very comfortable with that choice because he didn't think Gilly was particularly comfortable in these smaller boats. And Damien Yell looking every bit the winner here already up this first beat. Now we must have another pair in a pre-start sequence. I think that's Bertrand Passet and Pierre-Antoine Morvan, black and green, and they are on final approach to the line there, and that's in this race it's Morvan to windward in green, Passet in black, and that looks from here a pretty tight start, so they will go off and it'll be full hiking mode for pace there. That's going to be a speed test. Right now it looks like Passe has a little better of it, closing the gap on to windward on Morvan, but again the angle from here can be an illusion. So we'll return now to Hannah in our featured match. They must be closing on the top mark.
Well, we just tacked onto port ley line here. Damien Hill, I think probably just with a small advantage. Yeah, I can just see him underneath the jib, but there really is not much between it. But Damien Hill is just going to rebound attack us and sneak around the mark just ahead of us now. But the breeze definitely building up here. Sea state building as well. Just had a couple of really larger waves, and you know, first time I've been wet in the last couple of days, so you can really see how much the sea state is improving. But absolutely nothing, probably 2 meters between the stern of Damien Hill's boat and the bow of Peter Gilmore's boat as they approach this first windward mark.
All right, we're going to watch this windward mark rounding here. So the voices of Yaji on Peter Gilmore's boat there. That is a very, very tight gap, and Gilmore will definitely be in a position to attack here. We've seen a lot of simultaneous jibe moves. They work best in light air just because of the angle of the dirty air thrown forward by the spinnaker. But they also work well in asymmetric boats, and Gilmore, no question, he has definitely got an attacking position here, Hannah.
Yeah, slightly disappointing hoist by both boats actually there. Had a problem on Peter Gilmore's boat. I think possibly the head of the spinnaker got caught on a spreader or something like that. But thankfully Damien Hill had a couple of problems as well. So he's probably managed to extend by a couple of meters, but hasn't made a huge difference. Peter Gilmore right in Damien Hill's wind, right behind him, and just trying to literally slow him down as much as possible at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Mersky ahead around the leeward mark by a couple of lengths. Exact replica of the last race where Mersky took Mourinho past the leeward mark, past the ley line, took his time, turned back and extended a boat length or so. Mourinho was getting pretty close, so we'll just see how they battle up this next beat.
All right, still definitely a race there, there's no question about that, but Mersky 1-0 up and in control of the second race in that match. Meanwhile, we've got the key jibe on this our featured race. Gilmore getting away onto starboard. Damien Hill deciding he has to let him go. You've got to split, Hannah. You've got some leverage.
Yeah, we have. It doesn't all seem to be happy days on Damien Hill's boat. There's been a lot of shouting and a few problems, and Damien Hill now jibing back onto starboard to try and cover us. And I think he wanted to go straight away and to do it, but wasn't able to for somehow. There's a bit of friction I noticed around the top marks. We don't know if they're having some sort of problem on board.
Oh dear, that's terrible. I mean, we talked earlier about Damien having to keep his cool, and he has so far in this regatta. But they were all out of sorts when they came back to the image there, and obviously they wanted to match the jibe with Gilmore, realised they couldn't, had to go back to port, and then came back to jibe inside them. So now Gilmore the key thing is, can he jibe to port and get across in front of Damien Hill before this leeward mark? Damien is not in a position right now, he doesn't have an overlap, and he can't hold him past the mark. He can't luff him and hold him up past the mark. At least that's how I see it. Hannah, would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. I absolutely would agree. Damien Hill coming in slightly hotter into this bottom mark than Peter Gilmore, who's just trying to soak really, really deep and try and get in on this jibe. But Peter Gilmore won't be able to jibe and get clear of Damien Hill's bow, but he may well be able to soak down and get around it on this one jibe.
Okay, so that's the strategy for Gilmore. He's got to sail really low, not easy in a boat like this with a fixed pole. Gilmore trying to let the umpires know there's no overlap, and Yale has no rights to luff him.
Yeah.
Yale needs to get the overlap established and start luffing well before the mark, because if once they get inside 3 lengths, it's Gilmore has the right to round inside. Two lengths, sorry, that's the fleet racing rule. Just check with my rules advisor there. It's going up.
Which one? Clear drop, right?
Lots of action and lots of talking on these two boats now. Damien Hill only 3 or 4 meters away from us now, just down to Lou.
So he has got him past the mark. Yep. Yale obviously established the overlap, or felt he had, and Gilmore very, very unhappy about it.
Oh, and there's a crash from Damien Hill. Damien Hill has hit Peter Gilmore as we go around the mark. There's a lot of shouting. There's a lot of whistle blowing.
Yellow penalty. Of course.
Double yellow flag for Peter Gilmore. Double yellow flag for Peter Gilmore.
Wow. So that was huge. Gilmore obviously, the umpires judging that Yell actually had got the overlap and had the right to force Gilmore away from the mark. And Gilmore didn't believe he did. Came down too hard on Yell, made it too difficult for Yell to get around the mark. Fouled him because in that incident, and then took the lead because of it, which turned into a red penalty. So he has to do it straight away and hand the lead back to Damien Yell. So that is really the whole deal right there, I think, for this race. I'd be very surprised to see Peter Gilmore come back from that. So,
that was dreadful decision. Wait.
and you can hear Peter Gilmore really doesn't agree with it. It looked, I mean, obviously the camera's very illusory, Hannah, from this distance, but it didn't look like Yell had much chance of getting that overlap, but clearly he did.
Well, as Peter said, it was a dreadful decision. It's hard for me because I'm not at the back of the boat, and the umpires are supposed to be in the best place to make that decision, and that's the decision they made. Also, both umpires have to agree, and they must have agreed. You know, they must have agreed. They must have agreed that that was right, that Damien Hill had an overlap, and that Peter Gilmore had no rights. It's hard for me to say, but I slightly agree with you, and I slightly agree with Peter. I'm not sure. It definitely wasn't as clear-cut as they are making it with a double yellow flag.
Well, I think it becomes a double simply because Peter had complete control out of the incident.
Yeah,
you get the double because you've broken the rule and then you've got the lead. And once you've got the lead, there's no point you having the penalty. The penalty is effectively you've got control through a foul. So it's the second foul, you get the second one, which means you have to do it immediately. The turn, the circle, which is the penalty, and then you go back behind the guy that you just passed. So the natural order is restored. The ball comes down to how you judge the original incident, and in this case they felt that Damien Yell had the overlap, he'd got his bow inside and had the right to push Gilmore above the mark and the wrong side of the mark and lead back to it. Gilmore felt differently clearly, and as I say, we can't really tell the angles from here, but plenty of shouting, plenty of action. Fantastic stuff out here from Match Race France. Gilmore tacking away. Yell has the left again, which seems to be his favoured side. Someone said, I think earlier, that he's won the left off pretty much every start he's done so far, and he definitely favours this side. So, all that going on, I've completely lost track of what's happening elsewhere.
Yeah, in the other matches, we've got Mersky, who's done a nice job covering Mourinho up the second beat, and so he's rounded up 2 or 3 lengths ahead, so Mourinho didn't really make any gains up there. And then in the other match, Passay's just about 5 lengths ahead of Morvan. It wasn't a very interesting, it wasn't a very exciting beat. Passay just ground out towards the left, tacked back into the mark, and he's ahead. So that's all there is so far.
All right, that's great. Thank you very much, Craig. So we've got one race on its final run, I think, which is Torvald Mersky and Alvaro Marino, and we'll pick them up before they get to the finish. Meanwhile, we'll hold with this one, which is Peter Gilmore tacking onto starboard, and Damien Yell about to cross on port in full control of this second beat.
Yeah, we've all regained our composure slightly on board Peter Gilmore's boat now. It was all a little bit frantic there for a moment, but these guys just taking stock, and really it's about now getting to the finish line and recomposing and starting the next race.
Yeah, so they've got plenty on now on board Peter Gilmore's boat. They're going to go 2-0 down after this one. Damien Yell tacking to starboard, and that yellow sail in the frame is Alvaro Marino on his way down the run to the finish. I believe still trailing Torvald Mersky, so we'll pick them up when they get a little bit closer to the finish line and see if we can just confirm that win, that second win for Torvald for you. So both these first 2 matches going with the seeding out of the qualifying session. Torvald Mersky was first, he was leading after qualifying and got to pick his opponent, Alvaro Marino, and he's about to go 2-0 up. Same with Damien Yell, second in qualifying and got to pick his opponent, chose Peter Gilmore, and is also about to go 2-0 up. Now, this has gone a little quiet on the standard, so we'll try and pick up perhaps some of the action from elsewhere on the course. The other 2 matches are Bertrand Passay, Pierre Morvan and Francesco Bruni and Jesper Radek. We'll see if we can pick up some pictures of one of them for you. And in fact, that's Francesco Bruni that you can see there in red up against Jesper Radek in blue. And I'm not sure if Craig knows what the situation is in that one.
With Radek there, yeah, Radek's just taken a nice control up the first beat there, and he's got a 5 or 6 length lead over Bruni. So he's looking pretty comfortable right now.
So that's 3 of these that are going to go to 2-0. Do we know what the situation is still with Passe and Morvan now?
Yeah, Passe round the windward mark with a 3 or 4 length lead over Morvan, and has held that down the run, and is now just heading right just to keep an eye on Morvan.
All right, and I think the first man to go 2-0 is going to be Torvar Murski. We can see him very, very soon. That's him in the grey boat with the grey mainsail. Final jibe into the committee boat there, coming into the frame on the right-hand side. This will be Torvar Murski putting his second point on the board, looking a lot better than he did this time last year when he went out in the quarterfinals. It's not going to happen again. A year older, a year more experienced, well aware of the mistakes he made in that in this event last year. Looking for the blue flag. There it is. Confirmation. Torvar Murski goes 2-0 up in his quarterfinal with Alvaro Merino. And I think we can now return to the windward mark, where there is plenty of action with what looks like 2 flights getting mixed up together. It's looking a little confused, Hannah.
Yeah, it's all a bit hectic up here, but what they're actually doing now, the race committee, are using 2 windward marks. They're using their original big orange windward mark, I think maybe for the first mark groundings, and then or alternating it, and then they've laid a red cone which we have been round, so quite difficult for the skippers, especially for people on board Gilmore's boat who had all that hecticness going round the mark, trying to keep an eye on which windward mark they're supposed to go to. But no, for sure, Damien Neal's still very much in control of this, quite a long way ahead now. Peter Gilmore behind, and of course he still has a penalty to do before the finish.
So that's Jesper Radek in blue on the right of the picture, leading Francesco Bruni in red. And then our match is now headed off on the separating out on the left-hand frame. That's the pink sail, which is Damien Yell, and Peter Gilmore with Hannah is out of the frame to the left-hand side and trailing Damien Yell quite badly here. So it's looking like a solid 2-0 all the way around in this quarterfinal, which is going to make it very difficult to pick a featured match for the next one. But I'm sure someone will have some bright ideas about what we do with that. I haven't had my my afternoon coffee, so obviously my brain's gone to mush, and I can't possibly make a decision on which match we should go with next.
Well, you guys just have a chat back there and let us know, because I'm fairly sure once I've managed to have a chat with Peter at the end of this race, we'll be getting off and straight into the next flight of this quarterfinals. Absolutely.
I think we will probably go with Jesper Radek and Francesco Bruni again, but we'll confirm that with you later, Hannah.
Okay, no worries, no worries. Well, as it stands out here, I can see Jesper Radek and Francesco Bruni to my right as we're sailing along down here. Jesper Radek has another comfortable lead over Francesco Bruni. Damien Ale still has a comfortable lead over Peter Gilmore, the boat that I'm on right now. Peter Gilmore still has a penalty outstanding. And at the top mark, well, you've probably got a much better view of that than me.
That's right, at the top mark we can see Bertrand Passe is ahead still of Pierre-Antoine Morvan as they approach the end of their second beat onto the final leg. I think we just got a shot of that for you here. There it is. Bertrand Passe black, Pierre-Antoine Morvan green. This is very much age and experience versus youth and energy. And right now, age and experience, the wily old Bertrand Passe in very good shape, about to go 2-0 up. So that is match 3, and we will return now, I think, to Damien Yell and Peter Gilmore, who cannot be very far from the finish, Hannah.
No, Damien Yell's just approaching the downwind mark, which is just to windward of the finish line. So he's probably got a couple hundred metres to go. And then that will be it. Absolutely nothing for Peter Gilmore to do other than a total shutdown miracle here. But it's not going to happen. Breeze is very steady. It's looking lovely across the racecourse. And Damien Neal is more than likely going to go 2 up in this.
All right, Hannah, we're just going to get a very quick update from Rachel.
Yep, Hannah's on the water commentary is going down a storm with @Cube Images tweeting, watching live from Ireland. Hannah's doing a great job. Best wishes to all the team. Whilst on Facebook, Richard Hardcastle says, what a huge improvement over the commentary of earlier years. In particular, the commentary on board is brilliant.
Wow, I've got some fans. Thank you very much.
Hannah. Nobody loves me, but you've got some fans.
Oh, we all love you, Chizzy. No, it's all good. Well, it's hectic. I'm not sure I'm going to make it through the whole world tour. I'm sure I'll stand in somebody's halyard at some stage along the way and get myself into trouble. But for now, it's all good. Damien Neal now approaching the finish line. Spinnaker's coming down. That's it. He's 2-0 up in this race. And Peter Gilmore now just talking about doing his penalty, which he's got to do out of courtesy before he finishes.
All right, so 2 matches at 2-0. Mersky 2 up against Marino. Yale 2-0 up against Gilmore. Now, do you think you're going to be able to get a quick interview with us for us, Hannah, or do they want to settle down first?
Sorry, Mark.
Will you be able to get a quick interview with Peter?
I'm sure he's just dropping the spinnaker, going to do his quick penalty turn and then cross the finish line, and I'm sure Peter will be happy to do an interview with him. Just bear with us 2 minutes.
All right, while they settle down, we'll try and find the next match that's going to finish, which is Bertrand Passet and Pierre-Antoine Morvan. Match 3 to start. I'm just watching you do your penalty there, Hannah. And we'll come to this third match. There is Passet in black, looking very comfortable against Pierre-Antoine Morvan, Craig.
Yeah, Passet's just done a nice job all the way around the course. He's never really been bothered by Morvan. He's just sailed his own race, and he just looks like he's cruising down to the finish there. Really nice job by Passet.
Right, fantastic. Thank you very much indeed, Craig. That's great. So, Hannah, are you any closer to being able to chat with Peter Gilmore?
I'm just walking to the back of the boat, just sitting next to Peter, looking at him. Hopefully he'll have a chat to me. Peter.
Yes. Yes.
What should we say? 2-0 now, down in the quarterfinals. A difficult race for you, that bottom mark rounding. Just talk us through that little incident.
Well, essentially, the call is if you're in the zone, which is 3 boat lengths from the mark, you're the inside yacht, and I think we were, he was probably right, just probably 2.5, maybe 3 boat lengths. It's a difficult call for the umpires to make in that context, and the other thing is that we're the windward boat, and so typically umpires default to their norm. Windward boat, keep clear of a leeward boat, that sort of stuff, right? And they go through their little routine, and they basically called it his way, gave us a double penalty, which is probably a bit harsh. Maybe a red was justified, but an immediate penalty. But anyway, that was it wouldn't have improved our stock from there.
And looking forward, looking ahead to the next race, you're staying in this boat for the next race. You got to win the next one to keep coming out here and keep sailing out here. Anything you're going to do differently? How's the left and right looking?
Well, it's pretty even on the race course. There are little puffs out of the very high top left there. We didn't quite get the start we wanted out of that start. We probably wanted to be in his position. It's quite a nice start, that leeward start, when you feed into that left-hand pressure. So probably work a little bit harder on that, just trying to get something out of the start. I mean, I guess the perspective that I look at this is that, it's really if you can win your last race, you're still in it. And so, don't sort of look at the sum of the total or what's happening. Just keep on trying to win our last race. That's all we can do here.
Wipe the slate clean and look at the next race as the first race and try and win it.
Exactly, that sort of thing. And so, let's bring it on.
Brilliant, thanks Peter. Well, I'm getting off now, so if I was your unlucky charm, you might be a bit luckier in the next race. Mark, I'm going to hand back to you while I get myself sorted out, and I'll let you know when I'm back on board with someone else.
All right, that's great. Thank you very much, Hannah. You are 0 for 2 on your personal stakes right now, so we'll see how that goes as we progress in the series, and we're going to rejoin Bertrand Passet and Pierre-Antoine Morvan, and that's the black mainsail of Bertrand Passet, also about to go 2-0 up. Now, no boat swaps this time, so we'll be straight into the action. We should be able to get one more full flight in before we leave you just after 3 o'clock. And we will be going with Bruni and Radic again, I think. Although the options, there's some attractive, with everybody on 2-0, it's a tough call. We could throw it open to Twitter, but we probably don't have time for that, so it's going to fall to us to make a decision. And I think we will indeed go with Bruni and Radic. And there is Bertrand Passet doing his final jibe. Watching for the flag on the committee boat. Bertrand Passet was blue, port entry this time. There it is. There's the blue flag on the committee boat. Just final confirmation of Bertrand Passet as winner of match 3 of flight 2. And that leaves us one race left on the race course, and that is Jesper Radic and Francesco Bruni. And the fact that Hannah's got off Francesco's boat has not done him any favours. Jesper Radic still leading pretty comfortably up here into the top mark. Alright, we're just watching quarter-final flight 1, match 4. Francesco Bruni and Jesper Radic. That should be attack onto the ley line. The approach line on port tack. Wind blowing over the left-hand side of the boat, so it's port tack for Jesper Radic from Denmark. Tour champion in 2003. Great performance last year with just four events. And 3 finals out of 4, not a bad return. Came up against Ben Ainsley twice in those finals and lost both of them to Ben. 2-0 in Sweden. Pretty convincing victory. Very much a one on the start line in both instances with Ben. But Radic had certainly cranked his game up for when they met again later in the year in Bermuda. And he really turned the turbos on, and we had the full shouting fest. Penalties everywhere. It was fantastic action in that final in Bermuda in the hot Bermudan sun. Ainsley winning that event and going on, of course, a month later to win the tour at the Monsoon Cup. Our world champion has gone in search of Olympic gold, though. It would be a record-breaking 4th gold to go with the silver and the 3 he already has, which would better Paul Elstrom's 4 golds in the Finn and the Firefly back in the 50s and 60s. And the 40s, actually. 48 his run started in the Firefly in London. And a 50-year record will fall next summer if Ben Ainsley picks up that gold medal in the Finn, and given his form at the moment, that wouldn't surprise most observers, I think. So, the world champion has left the stage, and it's left these guys to pick up his mantle. Who's it going to be? It could well be this man. Started a little shakily, lost some early matches in the qualifying rounds, but he's looking in fantastic shape here, about to go 2-0 up against Francesco Bruni. Bruni, a very multidisciplinary sailor. He's been to the Olympics 3 times and different boats every time, and that takes a really comprehensive skill set. But last year he didn't really give it the attention it deserved, and he always fell short. Obviously those 2 quarterfinals against Francesco Bruni that he lost 3-2, but they weren't by any means the only knockout round stages that he lost 3-2. There was a spectacular one in Korea against Matthew Richard, where Richard had to come from behind twice and then finally took it out in the decider. And Bruni felt himself pretty hard done by. I think his other, I remember in Tamaritz he went out on what I think was a 5-way tie for the guy that went out of the qualifying round, didn't make the quarterfinals, and I think at that point we got a very Italian shrug from Francesco Bruni, and our luck is not with us, was his view. This year, however, this is not about luck. This is about a pretty comprehensive thumping from Jesper Radic. Radic in blue, Bruni in red, coming down to the finish. And we will try and get on board with these guys for the final. Well, is it the final race? For the 3rd race, I'm jumping well ahead of myself there. Francesco wouldn't be happy if he heard that. I'm sure he'll be planning to peg one back. All right, we're just going to get a little update from Rachel.
Yeah, on the blog, Gogi wants to know what happened with Williams this morning.
Ah, yes, Ian Williams. He had to win his match against Bjorn Hansen, and it really all happened in the pre-start. Hansen did a better job, won the left. The left countered. There wasn't a great deal in it, but Hansen got round the top mark first, made the lead count, won the race, and that sent Ian Williams home on just 4 wins. Looked a little out of sorts for the whole regatta, really, Ian Williams. Again, he was a little bit anxious coming into it. You know, he'd had some fantastic results. Won the Congressional Cup, won the Spanish Open at Calpe, but then came into this event, and these are very different boats. They're 4-man boats. They're lighter, they're twitchier, they accelerate faster. It's much easier to wriggle out of trouble. And Ian is a very thoughtful, analytic, structured sailor, and he's got Bill Hardesty with him this year. I think he described him as having a very intuitive approach to the sport, and that they work well together, but they're back in the boat together. I think this year I'm sure they've sailed together since, but they won the title in 2007 together. Ian went on to win it again in 2008, but wasn't as dominant. 2 slightly weak years after that, with funding issues and a lot of crew changes as a result of that. Hardesty and Williams are back together this year, but it may take a little bit more time to settle down in the full range of boats that you have to be able to compete in to win this tour. And that's really one of the great things about it, is you've got to be strong in every single type of boat. Slow 40-footers, twitchy, quick J80s, and everything in between. That's the final jibe from Francesco Bruni. Jesper Radek in blue going into cover, and I think we're going to see the committee boat come into the frame on the right. There it is. And Jesper Radek was, there it is, yellow flag, was starboard entry. So he takes flight 2 of match 4. Jesper Radek 2-0 up. And we will have this next match underway shortly. I think we have already Hannah on Damien Yell's boat, although we also I guess need to bring you confirmation of those results with the leaderboard at some point. All right, there's the quarterfinal results, Rachel.
Okay, so it goes to Marino 0, Mirsky 2, Gilmore 0, Yale 2, Morvan 0, Passe 2, and Radek 2 with Bruni 0.
Fantastic, thank you very much indeed. Indeed, Rachel. So, 4 sailors on the brink with absolute must-win matches to stay in this competition. Alvaro Marino, Peter Gilmore, Pierre-Antoine Morvan and Francesco Bruni have to win this next race to stay alive. Otherwise, we will have 4 semi-finalists: Torvar Mirsky, Damien Yell, Bertrand Passe and Jesper Radek. So I wonder, can we see it all concluded before we have to close our live slot here at or just after 3 o'clock? We'll certainly have time for this next full set of flights for you. But I think we can go with a bit of luck to Hannah. And she can talk to, she's aboard with Damien Yell, is that right, Hannah?
Yeah, Mark, I've just jumped on board with Damien Yell just before I get on board with Francesco Bruni for his next race. But just wanted to talk to Damien Yell after that very exciting race with Peter Gilmore. Damien, you're now 2-0 up in the quarterfinals. If you win the next race, you're through to the semis. This is great.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's a very nice day. Huh? The sun is here, the wind is perfect, the sea breeze is here, and the match is very nice and it's perfect. Yeah.
Fantastic. You guys all seem very happy and jolly, and that little bottom mark rounding with Peter Gilmore. I was on board with Gilmore's boat, and obviously the penalty came out in favour of you guys, and a double yellow for Peter Gilmore. You obviously agree with that. You obviously felt that you were in the right there.
Yeah, I agree for that because Peter is not under the 2 boat lengths, and he jibed just front of us, and he have 2 penalty, and it's perfect because the match is easier for us.
Fantastic. And are you enjoying it here? This is, you're in France, your home country, sailing on boats that you love. This must be great.
Yeah, it's perfect. No, it's really perfect. It's a good sail, good days, and perfect.
Brilliant. Thanks, David. Well, good luck with the next race. And Mark, I'm going to jump off now, so you can come back to me in a few minutes.
All right. Thank you very much, Hannah. Hannah's going to try and get aboard with either Jesper Radic or Francesco Bruni. And I think Craig was trying to find out what the situation was with the plan for the next start.
Yeah, plan for the next start. We're just switching over the TV cameras, and then we're going to be getting underway in about the next 3 or 4 minutes. So it's all ready to go.
All right, fantastic. So Hannah's just got to get off Damianielle before they start, and I'm sure she'll manage that. And then she's joining the last start in the sequence, so she'll have plenty of time to join Jesper Radic and Francesco Bruni. And so we're going to see Alvaro Marino and Torvar Mirsky first up. All right, flight 3. We'll watch all these pre-starts because that is the advantage, I guess, of being the featured match on the last one. We do get to see all the pre-starts before our featured match leaves, and then we'll pick up all the finishes for you as well. And that will close our live coverage this afternoon. And I wonder if it'll all be done and dusted. It's certainly possible, as we see the scoreboard there. Every one of them at 2-0. Torvar Mirsky with Alvaro Marino, Damianielle with 2-0 over Gilmour, Marseille beating Morvan, and Radic beating Bruni 2-0. So best of 5. It's not really best of 5, it's actually first of 3, because you can lose a point if there's a collision and there's damage. The umpires can dock a quarter or a half point, and that can mean you have to sail the extra race to get to 3.5 rather than 2.5 with your third win. So I think we've got some action soon. We'll hold this frame on the committee boat until we get a flag. I don't think it'll be long. Race committee, as I said earlier, very anxious to push on with the schedule. Forecast is dreadful. It's dogs being blown off chains on Sunday, and they are very confident we won't be able to race. So the idea is to get to perhaps 3 races of a final done on Saturday night, and then if it does turn out to be saleable, we might get the concluding 2 of a first to 3 points in, or we might have to go with whoever's ahead at that point and effectively make it a first to 2 points. So we'll see how that situation plays. Certainly the weather's cooperating at this stage of the game. We were pretty worried this morning when it was very light and the forecast was for nothing until 1 o'clock, but the breeze filled in quite early, 10:15. It's a little bit more round to the right, and it's proved some absolutely perfect sailing conditions. So we're back with Torvar. I think we just got an update. Yes.
Yep, we're going to go into sequence in the next minute at 14:39. So we're pretty much there.
All right, everyone. Fingers on buzzers. If you can start your stopwatch at 7, or pause like I will be to starting it for the 5 on the countdown of the 5. Still no sign of this gun yet.
5 seconds.
There it is. All right. That's the 7, everyone. First matchup will be Alvaro Marino and Torvar Mirsky. Torvar Mirsky, the qualifying series winner. Gonna hold some windsurfing action in the background there. Got some fabulous footage of the skateboard park here in Marseille. Very famous one for those of you that are into those kind of sports. One of the original concrete bowls that are now so popular. And there is the 6. So one more minute to the 5. And we'll be into a pre-start shortly afterwards with match 1 of flight 3, which could be decisive in all 4 quarterfinals. Hannah White, our on-the-water commentator, is currently getting aboard with either Jesper Radic or Francesco Bruni. I assume it's probably Jesper, as she was with Francesco in the first match we did with those guys. We are with the matches for the tour card holders. Both of these matches that we followed here are double tour card holders matches. In the first one, Mirsky's got the tour card, Alvaro Marino is here on a wild card, and similarly, either Pierre-Antoine Morvan or Bertrand Passé are tour card holders in match 3. That's the local match. But as you've seen, we're following the racing in all 4 races. And there is the 5-minute. All right, fantastic. We're about to get underway with Alvaro Marino and Torvar Mirsky in the same boats. Well, actually, my flight sheet says that they've swapped again. But I thought we were swapping. No, I'm just getting a shaking of the head from Craig. Okay, I'm reading the flight sheet wrong. I just got a slap around the clip around the ear for reading the flight sheet wrong. Swapped ends, not boats. So Torvar Mirsky and the Wave Muscat team with the grey mainsail coming in from starboard this time, so he has a stronger entry. This was the match that was abandoned in the last flight when Marino's entry was fouled by a spectator or a spectator boat of some fashion, and there it is. And a very, very tight entry from Alvaro Marino in the yellow boat at the port end, the black buoy. And we are going to be straight into a dial-up, so pretty even line. Not enough bias there for Marino to escape, despite a really crackingly fast on-time entry across the bow of Torvar Mirsky in the grey boat. My excuse for the flight sheet is that Torvar Mirsky's, because it's yellow, it has a yellow background, but and then the grey is in the grey mainsail. It's written, so it's you need your brain in gear. And as I mentioned earlier, I haven't had my afternoon coffee yet, and neither has Sam, the producer, apparently. So we're all looking forward to a round of coffees here at some stage. Okay, counting down, just over 3 minutes to go. Alvaro Marino heading out to the right-hand side and going back pretty quickly at Torvar Mirsky. And yes, this time he has succeeded in getting the second dial-up. So Mirsky quickly into the dial-up and very quickly out, trying to get around his bow. Dangerous move, because if he can't break the overlap, Marino can now hold him above the line. So Torvar Mirsky on the ropes a little bit here. We'll see how this plays out. Committee boat off to the right somewhere. Pretty confident they're above the line. I don't know if I can maybe hear Hannah back online again. I'll see if she's got a view of this pre-start. She'll have perhaps a better idea of the angles and the positioning.
Yeah, I'm here. Hello.
Ah, that's Hannah. Back online. Hello, Hannah.
Sorry, I just had Sam talking to me there, but no, I was just on board with Francesco Bruni and had Matt Cornwall there asking me if I was going to be their lucky charm. And asked me what my win ratio was so far today, but I didn't think I would divulge that information, seeing as it's not very positive.
No, indeed.
No, we were just talking about the course actually, and it's definitely gone a little bit lighter out here, and they're expecting the breeze to drop and go a little bit left actually. So the fight really is going to be on for the left-hand side of the course.
All right, I think we can see the way that this is setting up now with Marino and Mirsky. That's a nice shot there. We can see as they turn back up, there's a minute 30 to go. At the moment, Alvaro Marino with the yellow sail, plenty of boats in the way here of this action. The red, the green and the blue are all currently just hanging out, and they're blocking our view of the grey and the yellow mainsails, which are the ones that are about to start. We've got a minute 10, just over a minute 10 I think before this start.
there's lots of head to wind flapping as these guys try and work out, you know, wind directions, if there's any bias on the line and things like that, as we go into our 1 minute now until the start of this first race in flight 3 of the quarterfinals.
Looks like Torvald Murski's pushing pretty hard there, Hannah. He's got into leeward, has he, or how close are they to the line?
Well, hard to see. I've got four people standing in my way, but I'd say they were about 10 boat lengths off the back of the line now. Less than that now. Torvald Murski slightly behind, slightly to leeward. Mourinho, as you can see, Murski just trying to get the hook in there, but not quite managing it. Oh yes, he has. He's got his bow in there now. Both boats head to wind.
Marino killing time pretty effectively. He's got head to wind there and slow, and I think he'll be able to flick away. He may get the better start out of this. 15 seconds to go. They look very close to the line from this shot.
Yeah, they do. Marino is less than a boat length away from the line now.
I think the risk is for Murski, though, that he's going to be late, if anything. 6 seconds to go on my watch.
No, he's coming up now to the line.
He's quite slow, though. An attack on the line as well. I think I'm going to give that one to Marino. At speed, on port, off the line.
Yeah, the big question is, though, whether a slightly slower start on the left-hand side is going to be better than a faster start. So I'm surprised to see Murski not tacking quite out straight away, going with Marino over towards the right-hand side of the course.
If I was Marino, I'd be tacking and trying to get across early.
No, Murski's going now.
Okay.
Missed his chance.
So Murski has the left, and he's going to head that way and see if he can make it pay. Murski's guys there, not hiking quite as hard as we've seen them sometimes on the race course. And coming into the frame, I think very soon will be Alvaro Marino, the yellow mainsail. Oh, there's a big separation opening here. Marino backing himself. He's still going on port, so I
have to say, Marino looking pretty soft over on the right-hand side at the moment. It's hard to tell. And right in front of me, we've got Gilmore and Eel entering the pre-start box there. Pretty even, both boats coming down, and Gilmore definitely not going to get across on port, so going to go straight into a dial-up, I would think. Here we go.
All right, well this one's going to be quite interesting, I think, because there's a serious separation opening here. I mean, Torvald Murski clearly wanted the left. He won the left. He paid a bit of a price for it in speed and acceleration off the line. And the question is now, will it pay? Murski's going to tack back. Murski's folding his hand first. Murski tacks the port, the grey sail on the right-hand side of your picture, and the yellow mainsail on the left is Alvaro Marino. There'll be a bit of a sweat on these boats, Hannah.
Yeah, just standing here with Matt Cornwall here, who's listening to Francesco Bruni and his 2 other Italian crew members, and Matt, obviously being English, just turned to me and went, "Do you have any idea what they're saying?" So those guys just having a bit of a discussion in Italian while Matt and I looking out at the conditions. But
which side is Matt backing, Hannah? Who does he think is going to come out ahead in this
Tell
cross?
Matt what you're backing, left or right on these two. Who's going to make the cross?
Like
got Murski on the left.
Yeah,
right, Matt
Murski
Cornwall.
looks like he's ahead.
World champion, Matt Cornwall.
It's hard to tell from here. We thought it was a bit of a left-hand track, but we'll see.
Right.
There you go, hot off the press.
Absolutely hot off the press there. The boat that's won 2 races so far, they think it's the left. Murski thinks it's the left. Murski's 2-0 up. Closing. Very soon we are going to find out exactly who's right and who's wrong. And I'm backing Murski as they close. His mainsail, his mast looks a lot taller than Alvaro Marino's.
Yeah, Matt just saying what I said earlier, which I thought that on the left-hand side, Murski had a little bit more pace there, and we can see now that Murski is...
I think it's clear as well that the left, the good left, is at the top of the course. That seems to be pretty consistent feedback. So Murski's now defending the left again, which is interesting. So I think as you get beyond 2/3 of the way up the beat, it's the left where you really want to be, and Murski, having clearly gained on the first half of the beat on the left, is now going back for more on the second.
One thing to really consider out here is how much the breeze has dropped off, and these guys have to be really on it with their gear changes, just sailing the boats in a little bit of a softer mode for these lighter conditions.
All right, Hannah, we're going to leave that one for a little bit and come back to the pre-start, which is underway with Gilmore and Damien Yell, and just a minute 25 to go here, I think. And Gilmore still heading away from the line, setting up again. It looks like he wants the left. Damien turns up, not trying to put any pressure on Peter Gilmore at this stage. Yell has really favoured the left this week, but for the moment, yeah, here he goes, bow down, putting the pressure on Gilmore, looking for the hook, looking to get into leeward, and he's close, he's not got it at the moment. Gilmore turns down, both boats want the left again. 43 seconds to go here. Gilmore trying to kill the time. Difficult for me to tell. I don't know if you've got a view of this one, if Gilmore loves, Yell is locked into windward of him. 25 seconds to go.
Yeah, they're both pretty even. They're just sitting there, both same distance back from the line. Eel now slightly ahead, both head to wind. Eel on the committee boat side, Gilmore on the pin side.
So
split tack start. Gilmore goes off towards the pin, but I'm not sure he's going to make it. He might have to tack on the start line.
Well, this could be pretty ugly for Peter Gilmore. He's got the left, but as he paid too high a price for it, he certainly looks slow. Damien Yell has the acceleration again. So again, you can win the left, but if you pay a high price, it cannot work out for you. Or
just looking back up the,
just
looking back up the course, we've just seen the first big cross from Marseille against Marino, and Marseille definitely is in the lead. Marseille crossed ahead of Marino, so the left has paid for him. Yeah. Will it pay though for is it Peter Gilmore that got the left on this?
Indeed, Peter Gilmore got the left. He paid a slightly higher price. I'd have said he looked a little bit slower off the line than Marseille did, and he's got the left. But will he get the same gains? Will he get across in front of Damien Yell? If he doesn't, he's toast. He's going home. Didn't make this stage of competition at this event last year, so this is already progress on his 2010 performance. But he won't be happy. 6 times Tour and World Champion won't be happy going home 3-0 if that's the way it plays out. But right now, in that picture, it looks to me like Gilmore has his bow up a little bit. He looks a little bit higher, and maybe he's even a little bit faster, but we'll see. So we have behind them, going into the pre-start zone, the black sail of Bertrand Passé and the green sail of Pierre-Antoine Morvan in the all-French quarter-final. We will stick, oh look at those angles now, the black sail of Peter Gilmore pointing much more towards the left-hand side of the screen than the pink sail of Damien Yell. Is Gilly going to pull it out of the bag here and get one back?
Both boats looking very, very slow from where I am now, Mark.
Has the breeze dropped, do you think?
Yeah, the breeze has definitely dropped. It's dropping all the time at the moment. I mean, at most we probably had 12, 13 knots. I say it was back down to sort of 8 now.
All right, Torvald Murski leading around the windward mark. I can see out the window. Nice extension from him on that beat once he had control. And I think we'll follow this, if we can, this with Gilmore. We'll just hang with them until we get the cross. I think Gilly's going to come all the way out to this left-hand side and really back himself before he tacks across to maximise his advantage on this side, if he finds one there.
If you're going to pay a high price to win the left in the pre-start, you need to go all the way left and prove a point. Here he is, he's coming, he's tacked back in now. We'll see the first cross here.
We'll stay with this. We've got 2 minutes 40 on the pre-start that you can see underway in the background with the green and blue mainsails, but Passé and Morvan. And it's a duck from Gilmore, so he doesn't get the gain that Murski saw on this side. Little fiddle with the backstay there from Peter. Obviously concerned that it's hooked up on the mainsail leech on the jibe. He's given up the left. Damien Eel is back out on his favoured side. So, first cross to Gilmore in match 2 of flight 3. And we will return now to the pre-start action, I think. You can see it going on in the background there, the green sail of Pierre-Antoine Morvan leading the black sail of Bertrand Passé. There they are. Passé, remember, 2-0 up, has all the aces right now. And he's turning inside Morvan to lead back. There's a slightly wider shot so we can see Passé leading back towards the left-hand side of the line, the black buoy in the water there on the right. And again, I think we're going to see everybody fighting for the left. We'll stay with you beyond our normal 3 o'clock slot to bring you the end of this third flight of the quarterfinals.
So that's 1 minute, the 1 minute gun to the start of the Morvan-Passé race in this third flight to the quarterfinals. I'm on board with Francesco Bruni as these guys just get ready to start their pre-start, which will be 1 minute after the start of the Morvan-Passé start. That's when they'll enter the box. Having looked further up the course and seen that Peter Gilmore not being able to cross in front, having gone all the way out to the left, it certainly started a few heads scratching on board this boat, seeing as they wanted the left. So,
all right, into the end game here, to the last 20 seconds of this pre-start. Morvan trying to chase Passé back towards the line. Passé trying to kill the time. Definitely wants the left there. Morvan anxious to stop him, tucking into leeward. I don't know if we had an incident there. There's no flags. Passé putting under a lot of pressure from Morvan. Yep, double yellow. There was indeed an incident there, and Passé picked up the penalty. I thought they looked very, very close, and indeed they were.
55.
Greg's got his binoculars up. He's checking that out, but it's Passé now in a whole world of trouble. He's 2-0 up, but he's got a double penalty.
yeah, I can see their umpire vote, and there are definitely 2 yellow flags up.
Passé took control. Here he goes into his penalty. And as we see in the frame on the left-hand side, the grey sailor Torvar Mirsky rounding the leeward mark, comfortably ahead of Alvaro Marino, who we'll see shortly. But Morvan getting himself in a position to slam it right on Passé's there. Passé completes the penalty, finds he has a whole world of gas.
20, 19,
forced off
18,
towards Marino.
17,
Morvan
16,
there.
15,
Morvan
14,
now goes with him.
12, 11, 9.
Morvan crossing comfortably on port, so in full control of that race right now, and Passé still has the penalty to do, so Morvan could pull one back, could pull it back to 2-1. Mirsky in all sorts of control here of Alvaro Marino. Right, Hannah, you're on, you're up. Jesper Radic, Francesco Bruni. It's do or die for Francesco.
So on board with Francesco Bruni, entered from starboard. Radic came in on port slightly earlier, but both boats got into a dial-up situation. Bow forward, ready to back. Francesco Bruni closer to the committee boat, slightly behind, but bows almost level actually. Both boats just sitting there, head to wind. Very quiet on both boats. There's a lot of tension here. If Radic wins this, he'll be through to the semis. If Francesco wins this, he stays in the quarters. You can hear sails flapping.
3 minutes 15, so
Radic's,
plenty of time on the clock still.
Radic slightly worrying about braking too early. Lots of Italians talking behind me. Wish I understood Italian. Could tell you exactly what they were thinking.
Hannah, we're just going to go to a quick update from Craig here.
Yeah, and it looks like Peter Gilmore's worked some of his magic there, and he's just rounded the windward mark, about a boat length ahead of Damien Eel, so that one's going to get quite interesting.
All right, then we can give you a shot of that there. Yep, Peter Gilmore also in a position to pull one back, like Morvan, so we could have 2 of these races now going to 2-1. Mirsky looks like he's going to close it out at 3-0. But we'll come back now to our featured race. Jesper Radic, Francesco Bruni. Bruni also up against it in the pre-start action, and we have a couple of minutes, just over 2 minutes, Hannah.
Yeah, Radic just broken away, sailing off. Bruni's come around and is following. We're now going ahead of the committee boat, in front of the committee boat. Francesco Bruni in hot pursuit of Jesper Radic.
Bruni looks like he's got plenty of time, no pressure on him at the moment. Not close enough to really put any pressure on Radic either. All fairly calm at this stage. We have 1:45 to go.
142.
Confirmation there, I think, from the voice of Matt Cornwall. Bowman aboard Francesco Bruni. I think we may have just lost Hannah. There's perhaps an issue with her radio, but we'll try and bring her back as quickly as we can. Bruni turns up to lead back, 1:15. Bruni has the left at the moment. Whether he can hold it remains to be seen. Jesper Radic will be coming down. There he is, pointing at Bruni, trying to get into Leeward and get his bow into the left-hand side of Bruni's boat. Bruni defending. Radic having another go, another look. 50 seconds to go. Not a whole lot of time left. Radic again going down. Bruni gets some pace on. Puts clear water between himself and Radic at this stage. Radic unable to put pressure on at the moment, but it's hard to tell how far they've got left to go to the line. Bruni now decides to try and kill. Radic tacks under him to keep the pressure on. His bow still into leeward of Bruni, where he can attack, where he can luff, where he can push Bruni closer and closer to the line, trying to get him over. Bruni accelerates.
Okay.
Radic will get the left. Nice job from Radic again. He's won the left. Got the timing. Just nailed it again. Bruni, too much time to kill. Couldn't kill it all. Forced attack away. Bruni got into leeward. Radic got into leeward of Bruni. And there's the start. Radic has the left. Francesco Bruni tacks at the committee boat to starboard. Hannah.
Yeah, you probably saw more of that than I did, Mark. I was just downstairs changing the battery on my commentary pack, so I could bring you all the very latest from this race as we go through it. But Radic got the slightly more favourable side, the left-hand side that these guys have been wanting so badly. The breeze is definitely lighter up here. None of these people hiking as hard as they are, trying to keep the boat moving, trying to look at the water, trying not to be slowed down by any of the waves on board. So you can hear in my voice I'm talking a lot quieter. Conditions are a lot softer than they were. Boats evenly matched at the moment.
It's really interesting, Hannah, because the picture we've got is the same, that the boat to leeward, which is Jesper Radic, the blue sail on the right, if you're looking at the screen, looks what we call bow up, so pointing closer to the wind and looks like it has a slight advantage. It looked the same way with Gilmore in the last race, but when he tacked across, he didn't have that edge. And I think, actually, while that one goes on, before we get that first cross with you, Hannah, pull us back to that race when we get the cross, but we're going to have a quick look up the course, I think, at a rounding.
Yeah, we've got Peter Gilmore here coming into the leeward mark. Leeward mark. He's got a nice little lead on Eel. He's eked out a little bit down the run there, so you know, it's not over yet for Gilmore. He's looks like he could be coming back to be only 2-1 down. Absolutely, nice work from Peter Gilmore. I think we're hoping that we can pick up one of these races. There's a lot of action at the top mark as well, Craig. Yeah, it's all getting together up at the top there. It looks like the races have actually got overlapped, which is a bit of a shame. But we have Mirsky, who's jumped out to a really quite big lead there against Mourinho. You see Mourinho there in the yellow boat, and Mirsky's the far right grey boat. He's got a great lead there. And then you've also got Pierre-Antoine Morvan leading Bertrand Passay. So that will Mirsky will go through. He's on the final run and he looks pretty invincible there, so that will put Mirsky into the semi-final. Pierre-Antoine Morvan in green leading Bertrand Passay will pull it back to 2-1. So it's all happening out here. We'll come back to our featured match with Hannah and Jesper Radic and Francesco Bruni in match 4 of this flight 3.
Yeah, well, both boats, Bruni and Jesper Radic, were just sailing up on starboard out towards the left-hand side, and on board Bruni's boat they were very well matched, both boats sailing exactly the same speed, same height, everything like that. Bruni's just decided to tack out now, felt there was a bit more breeze and was sailing out towards the right hand side, and the breeze has definitely increased. It was a good decision by these guys. Whether that breeze has reached Jesper Radic or not, it's hard to tell, but right now Bruni's looking good. Yeah, big split there. We can see the red sail of Francesco Bruni on the left, then you've got the purple sail of Peter Gilmore, and he looks like he's got in a good position with Damien Yell there, which is the boat coming towards us in the very middle of the frame. And then on the far right we can see Jesper Radic in blue, and there is Radic. Sails a little bit more powered up now. You can see the slight sag off the forestay. They've eased the halyard there to put a bit more power into that genoa. You can see the foot of the sail, the very bottom edge of the sail loose off the boom now too. Trying to get these boats powered up in these lighter conditions that we're seeing. Started with plenty of breeze earlier this afternoon, but it's definitely dropping out a little bit on us. Plenty of wind to finish this quarterfinal this afternoon though. So Jesper Radic tacks to port. How does it look from where you are, Hannah? I think you've tacked as well. Oh no, you're still going. No, well, Jesper Radek's a long way away. It's very hard for me to tell at the moment, but these guys at the moment on board with Bruni, just looking to tack onto ley line now as we come up towards the windward mark, heading back out to the right-hand side, and shortly they'll be tacking onto starboard. And so I don't think we'll see any results of this left-right decision until we get up to the top mark. There you go. Look,
absolutely.
wow. I have to be careful.
You do. You wouldn't be the first person to make that joke though, Hannah, I have to say.
Top mark, Chizzy, how about that? That's
there
better.
you go. It all works, it all works. I know who you mean. All right, the tack from Francesco Bruni. Sets up on starboard on the left-hand side of our picture with the red sail. Jesper Radek still going on port. The blue sail on the right of our picture, and as they close, we will see who is going to come out in front. Remember, Bruni has to win this. I think we've got a brief moment if we can go very quickly down to see Torvar Murski, how far he is from closing out his quarter-final. That's Torvar Murski there in yellow, sorry, in grey. Alvaro Marino in yellow, a big gap there. You can see the leeward mark. Murski doesn't have far to go. He's got one final jibe. We'll come back to our featured match shortly, as I think that cross is about to happen. Yep, there it is. Jesper Radek looking good, Hannah.
Yeah, he really has. That left-hand side has paid for him a lot. We were sailing up towards the start of this first beat. Boats were looking pretty good, pretty even, and I thought that Bruni tacking off to the right would get into a bit more breeze, but looking at Gilmore, who's sailing on the left-hand side parallel with us, he looks to have good breeze too, so that left-hand side definitely paying, and well, Radek, he's off.
Still the magic of the left. Radek, oh, so much. This is, well, the opera lady isn't singing yet, but hey, she's all but for Francesco Bruni here. Francesco Bruni about to round the top mark. And we'll just very quickly, given the size of that lead, go back and see Torvar Murski close out his quarter-final. There it is. Oh, we're late to that one, sorry. And Spinnaker down on Torvar Murski's boat. Murski goes 3-0 into the semi-finals. Alvaro Marino from Portugal goes home. Not a great performance from Marino last year. 70% win ratio, strike rate on the tour. Great for him to get into the top 8 here, but he didn't quite have the firepower to get past Torvar Murski, the top gun on the tour from last year's rankings. And there we have Jesper Radek round. Oh, that's a huge lead, Hannah.
Yeah, I've just counted it. It's about 25 or 30 seconds lead that Jesper Radek's got on Francesco Bruni at the moment. So huge lead for him, and I think it will be very difficult for Bruni to do anything. Jesper Radek will. He's gone back to the left-hand side of the course now, but he'll be round the bottom mark first, and he'll be straight out to the left. And it's hard to know what Bruni can do from here.
All right, Hannah, we're going to leave you and follow the action in Gilmore and Yale. Craig, it's all on up there. It's a very close match, that one.
Yeah, it looks like Damien Niels was worked the right-hand side very nicely there, and he's got himself round to the right of Gilmore. And on the last tack, he forced Gilly to tack away to the left. So can Gilmore just sneak round the bow? Well, here he goes. He's going to give it a go.
And he looks like he's got it. Gilmore squeaks round in front. Oh no, he can't. He certainly hasn't squeaked round in front.
No, it's
Yell had control. He came in on starboard. Gilly had to keep going. He wasn't across his bow, clearly across his bow, but he does have the advantage of the better acceleration. Less of a turn for Gilmore. He sets his spinnaker onto Yell and could go straight into a pass. Yell defending hard, luffing immediately. Some flags being waved already. Because we have no on-board audio.
Spinnaker set by Damien Yell. I'm just watching.
It's a green
from
flag.
Francesco Bruni's green flag.
Green flag apparently from Craig, so no penalty in that one. Damien Yell needs to, well, he's lost the lead, but he's very much in position to attack on the jibe. Simultaneous jibe has been a really big move in this regatta because of the conditions and the asymmetric spinnakers. Damien tracking down, looking to close this out 3-0 and go straight through, join Torvar Murski in the semi-final. Gilmore looking to pull it back to 2-1. Final run for these guys, so not far to go. Damien Yell has to make it count. Hannah, just let us know if anything happens with your race, but otherwise I think we're going to track this down to the finish because it's crucial stuff for Peter Gilmore here.
Yeah, no, you stay with that. Not much happening over here.
That's not good news for Francesco Bruni, trailing Jesper Radic in match 4 of flight 3. Match 1 already finished, Torvar Murski through. We're following match 2. Damien Yell waiting to pounce. As soon as you see someone move on Peter Gilmore's boat, I think you'll see people move on Damien Yell's boat ready for the jibe. They will want to match. Now Gilmore, if he's going to escape that and not end up past the ley line and reaching back into the finish, needs to get the jibe in early. Or maybe the dummy. You could see the dummy there, move pulled off brilliantly by Ben Ainsley in the Monsoon Cup to get himself out of trouble with Torvar Murski in the final. It's got to be soon. They have to be close to the ley line. Looking pretty relaxed on Gilmore's boat, but that's sure they're ready to move as soon as Gilly feels he had a shot at getting the jibe in clean and keeping his advantage. Here he goes. Instant response from Damien Yell. Who will do the better jibe? Oh, Gilly's throwing the dummy. Damien Yell goes back with him, but he's going to lose distance. Not so clean on the spinnaker. Now Gilmore goes for the jibe. Damien Yell goes with him. Better jibe from Gilmore.
Lovely jibe from Gilmore.
Fantastically done from Gilmore. Yell looking slightly shaky. Gilly could get away with this. He's got better acceleration at the moment. There's no question about that. And are you in a position to see if they're on the ley line there?
Oh, no, I'm really sorry.
That's all right.
I'm really not. These guys are just going for the drop here and I need to let them do that. So
we probably shouldn't let Francesco move his boat just so we can see the finish here.
Peter Gilmore is not far off the ley line, that's all I can say.
So Gilly will be looking to soak down to it. Damien Yell will be trying to force him up, keep the game going. Get the game out to the right-hand side of this picture where he has some attacking options. If Gilmore can get down into the finish from where he is going to pull this back to 2-1.
We're just about to sail past them now, Mark, Peter Gilmore and Damien Yell, so I'll be able to tell you how it looks from my point of view.
Hannah there aboard with Francesco Bruni. 2-0 down and trailing Jesper Radic in the third match. Gilmore almost in a position to pull this back to 2-1.
Yeah, there's no question at the moment that Gilmore has a slight advantage over Damien. Slightly ahead, better boat speed, and looking better on the finish.
You can see there Jesper Radic in blue, Francesco Bruni in red as they go out of the picture to the left. Radic still very comfortable lead there over the boat that Hannah's on, Francesco Bruni.
Peter Gilmore extending all the time on Damien Yell. Looking very strong at the moment for Gilmore.
So Gilly could pull it back and Yell's going to jibe away. He's given up, he's realised he's not going to get past on that side.
Not a great jibe by Damien Yell. They've really struggled actually, some of their boat handling. Much better jibe from Peter Gilmore.
And there's the leeward mark, so we're not far from the finish. The orange buoy on the right hand side of the frame, Torvar Murski and Alvaro Marino there sitting watching. Jibe back from Yell. Gilmore decides to let him go this time. He'll go to a ley line for the finish, Gilly. Save the jibe, but that gives Damien Yell a tiny little sliver of separation. You can't get past without separation. Gilmore jibes now, so he's got his wings completely behind. There's the committee boat. Final jibe for Gilmore, I think. Gilmore started on the port, the pin, the blue end, so we are looking for a blue flag to confirm that Peter Gilmore has pulled this back to 2-1 after passing Damien Yell. That's the man with the flags in his hand. There it is. There's the blue flag. Gilly does it. Fantastic
by quite
result.
some margin as well, it looks from here, Mark. I don't know if you can see, but it looks like in the end Gilly had a quite a big lead over Damien.
Yeah, I think a little smoother boat handling around the back end of those final two jibes there, Hannah. And we've got Pierre-Antoine Morvin and Bertrand Passé on the track, also I think on their final run. And Craig's been watching that one for us.
Yeah, it's all gone Morvan's way in this race. Bertrand Passé picked up a double penalty at the start line for forcing attack, and after Marseille had taken his first penalty, Morvan just kept a nice close cover on him, sailed fast and loose, and it's looking pretty good for Morvan to take it back to 1-2.
All right, and that's Marseille's 3 penalties so far in this quarter-final. He picked up one in the first, but got it done in time on the finish line and went 2-0 up. And not going to happen this time, I don't think. Morvan with the lead and a penalty to the good. So I think we can now return to our featured race, Hannah, and see how you're getting on there with Francesco Bruni.
Yeah, well, Francesco Bruni doing everything he can to try and rein back in Jesper Radic. A few little shifts up this track as we come up to the second rounding of the windward mark, but Jesper Radic still with a very strong hold in this, what could be, if he wins this, his final race of the quarterfinals for him.
Yeah, it's looking like this one's done and dusted for Francesco Bruni. A shame. He was always 0.5% off the pace last year. He couldn't quite get the crucial matches. That he got to the 2-2 so many times in the knockout rounds and then couldn't quite pull off the win when he needed it. This year he won't be happy. This is in many ways a more comprehensive defeat at the hands of Jesper Radic. One of the hot tips for the title this year, coming back to the tour since he won it in 2003. He's dabbled a little bit since then, done some America's Cup sailing, done a lot of big boat sailing. Came back last year, did 4 events, 3 finals as I mentioned. Fantastic performance from Radic, and clearly hasn't lost any of his touch. He won the qualifier here too in March, so although they started a little bit shakily, they hadn't been able to do any practicing since then. They've got this boat back into the groove. And really, this is a very dominant performance, Hannah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's a long way away now. He's probably extended his lead up this second beat just by a little bit. He was about 25 to 30 seconds ahead of Francesco Bruni at the first top wind mark. So I shall start counting, and when he rounds that windward mark, and find out if he's managed to hold on to that. But looking at it, yeah, he has extended, there's no question.
All right, we're going to go back to Passy and just watch them come down, but I think we can also get a little update from Rachel. But only if I press the button.
Yeah, there's some interesting chatter going on Twitter asking if it's worth live streaming sailing events on the net, or should it all be saved for TV only. What do our viewers think? Email us at tv@wmrt.com or tweet us at WMRT. We'd love to know your opinion.
All right, there you go. Do you want live streaming? Morvan and Passy jibe, simultaneous jibe. It's got to be close to the last one. I can see them out the window coming down into the finish line. Comedia boat will appear on the right hand side very soon. Morvan about to pull it back to 2-1 as well. So we've got one semi-finalist, and we're not going to get a second in this match.
Well,
sorry, Hannah.
No, I was just going to say that on board with Francesco Bruni, just going around the top mark now, and Jesper Radic has doubled his lead that he had when we rounded this top mark on the last lap of this race. He was 25 seconds ahead, he's now 50 seconds ahead.
So dominant performance from Jesper Radic, but while you were doing that, Hannah, we just saw Pierre-Antoine Morvan pull one back against Bertrand Passy, so that's great news for the All-French final. That will go to another match, and but I don't think this one is going to, is it, Anna? That's a huge gap looking at it now.
Yeah, he's miles away.
50 seconds, it's an awful long way in match racing when you can have a lot of them decided by a second or two. The jibe from Francesco Bruni. I suspect that Radic will play safe and just go with him. Yep, there's the jibe with blue sail on the right. So we're going to have 2 semi-finalists, Jesper Radic and Torvar Murski, at the end of our live session, our live streaming session. And we're going to have 2 matches that will go to the 4th. We will, of course, sum those up for you tonight in the Today Show, which will be at 7:30 Central European Time. That'll be Hannah. And we'll get her off the water, dust her off.
Dry me off.
Dry
Got
you
quite
off.
wet earlier.
Give her a cup of coffee, push her back out to do more work.
Just looking at Jesper Ruddock here, Mark, the only danger he has, of course, is now, we've seen so many times happen, he's actually in almost totally different wind to Francesco Bruni now, and thankfully it's pretty stable across the course, but we're in a slightly different, more shifty environment, then Jesper's massive lead could actually be a disadvantage to him.
It's going to be hard for him to come back from there, looking at the view we've got here, Hannah.
Yeah, no,
it's a huge gap.
I'm just saying.
You're obviously an optimist. You're a glass half full kind of girl.
Well, if we were in a different place, if we had big skyscrapers around us or other things like that, if the wind was a bit shiftier, then anything can happen. But right now, it's all about Jesper Ruddock.
It's all about Jesper Ruddock cruising down to the finish. The blue mantle on the right of the picture, about to take his third win in the quarter-final of Match Race France and proceed to the semis. Now in the next round, Torvar Murski will have the choice of opponent, and I would be very surprised if he's going to pick Jesper Ruddock. Not a particularly tidy jibe there from Jesper. It's got a lot lighter though, a lot harder to fill that spinnaker through the jibe. You see the body movement there, the whole crew moving to windward together to give it that little bit of acceleration out of the jibe. Too much of that gets you in trouble. There's rules against overuse of body weight to propel the boat. Torvar Murski fell foul of that one last year and got himself a penalty. But sailing very, very smoothly with a complete demolition of Alvaro Marino in the match 1 of this quarter-final. 3-0, Murski through.
Not much to say from on board Francesco Bruni's boat right now. It's all pretty quiet.
No, what's the body language like?
It's all pretty quiet.
You have to go down below and whisper.
They're not quite close enough for the start line for me to try smiling to cheer them up, but we're getting there, we're getting closer. Jesper Ruddock jibing back onto starboard jibe.
That looks like the final one for Jesper, I think.
Really?
Not far from the finish line now. No. We'll just watch him come in. Jesper Ruddock was the port entry, the blue flag on the backstay. The blue flag will come up on the committee boat as he crosses the line. There's the leeward mark. Great performance from these guys.
It's definitely all over. Matt Cornwall, bowman on board Francesco Bruni's boat, already starting to take his watch off the mast. Put it in his
ready
pocket,
to go home.
pack his suitcase.
Spinnaker coming down early on Ruddock's boat just to make the point, and there's the blue flag, and now spinnaker on Ruddock as he crosses the finish line. Very comfortable lead. He progresses into the semi-final. Jesper Ruddock.
I might stroll back to the back of the boat and see if Francesco would have a quick word with me while we just keep the spinnaker up and cross the finish line. Francesco, do you want a hug?
Oh, I need one.
You need a hug. Here's a hug.
No,
there you go.
Thank you. Well, it's been just a bad day. I had a very bad start. The last one we were just a little nervous getting into it. We knew that we had only one life, and we didn't do our schedule well. There was a little bit of not a good feeling on board, and we could feel that. But we need a little bit more training together, time together, and we'll be fine. Just hope for the next one.
And the conditions have changed quite a lot this afternoon.
Oh yeah, it was one race was left, the other one was right. Was not nothing clear. Radic did a fantastic job, especially on the starting line and on the course. He never gave us any opportunity to come back. So great job by them, and you know, we had fun. Thank you, Marseille. Thank you, World Tour. It's all good.
And are you guys got some training planned before the next event, or are you just?
Yeah, we do. We need to go there as quickly as possible. I mean, as early as possible, and do as much as we can. But it's also, I think, it's just a matter of a bad day. We had a lot of close races in the past with Radic. Today was all easy for him, so we were missing something today for sure.
Well, it's a long race, it's a long tour.
Yeah.
anything can happen.
No problem.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Francesco, and thanks guys for having me on board. Mark, I'm going to hand back to you while I get myself sorted and have a drink in a Mars bar, and I'll come back to you shortly.
All right, Hannah, I think you're on with Damien and Peter next for their decider one, but unfortunately after we wrap this up we've got to leave you. Rachel, how is it looking on the scoreboard?
The score so far is Marino 0, Mirsky 3, Gilmore 1, Yale 2, Morvan 1, Passe 2, and Radic 3, Bruni 0.
All right, confirmation there from Rachel. It's Radic through into the semi-finals along with Torvar Mirsky. The other two matches still to be decided, for Gilmore and Morvan need to win the next one. They are down against Yale and Passe, so we've got more action. We'll bring you the update of that at 7:30 on the Today Show. And I think that is where we are going to wrap it all up today. So thank you very much everybody for your company. It's been a fantastic afternoon's racing. As I said, we'll be back with the Today Show at 7:30 with an analysis and comment and a final wrap of all the day's action at 7:30 Central European time, so watch out for that. I'm sure we'll have plenty more top action for you tomorrow. We'll be back live at 1 o'clock, but for now I've been Mark Chisnell, and from Rachel Hobday, Craig Mitchell and Hannah White, it's goodbye for now.